Hello, beautiful people of the internet. It's time to party again. Oh, shit, yeah. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Stamps.com, a super easy and convenient way to ship things. If you have a business, if you do things out of your home, or do things out of your office, you can print... Why does this sound weird? Does something sound weird?
Something weird?
Yeah, there's like some... I think it's just the headphone.
Oh.
There it goes. The jack just wasn't. With Stamps.com, you can print U.S. postage for any package or letter right from your desk. Super easy to do. You can use the digital scale that they provide with our free offer. If you go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner and enter in the code word JRE, you will get a $110 bonus offer, which includes a digital scale and up to $55 of free postage. It is the way Brian sends all of his T-shirts when you go to DeathSquad.tv. Those sweet kitty cat. Do you have a new one now?
I know you have
new ones. 4 new ones. Jesus Louises, ladies and gentlemen. Go there. Waste some money. Or spend. Enjoy. Purchase. This is one of the new ones. That blue one, is that a concept, or is that one?
All the new ones are concepts. I'm creating a whole new store. It's going to be a big store, and all these new ones are test products. I'm seeing how the manufacturers are.
Glorious. And all of them will be sent with Stamps.com.
Yep.
It's the fucking easiest way to send anything through the mail. You don't have to fuck with the post office. You do it all from your desk, whether your desk at your office or your desk at home. Weigh all that stuff out, put the postage on it, print it up from a regular computer, slap it on the box, and hand it to the postman. And you're diggity done. It's so easy to do. And again, use the code word JRE and you get this $110 bonus offer, which includes a digital scale and up to $55 of free postage. Avoid time-consuming trips to the post office, and you can save up to 80% compared to a postage meter. Postage meter is the way businesses used to do this, and it's a huge pain in the ass. It's expensive, and there's multi-year commitments and hidden fees. But Stamps.com eliminates all that mess and nonsense and allows you to do the exact same thing from your home computer. And again, use the code word JRE when you click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner and get your $110 bonus offer. We're also brought to you by Onnit.com. That's Onnit, a human optimization website. What we try to do at Onnit.com is, look, I'm a big fan of supplements. Some people aren't, and I completely and totally understand that. If you're curious, though, about supplements and curious of the benefits of supplements, I believe that the benefits are substantial, especially if you pay attention to I mean, there's always going to be weird fat loss claims. Have you guys seen all this shit with Dr. Oz?
Yeah.
Dr. Oz is fucked, dude. He's fucked. They brought that guy in front of, what was it, Congress they brought him in front of?
Yeah.
That's not good, son.
No.
Because he's a liar.
Yep.
He's a creepy liar saying he's got miracle cures and these little berries that they make pills out of. They give him kickbacks. Doctors are human beings, ladies and gentlemen, and sometimes doctors do creepy shit, and that is a creepy fuck. The fat thing to me it's insidious. It's extra creepy because people like... The fat thing is a self-esteem thing. It's a discipline thing. It's a health thing. There's so much connected to fat. It's like, to me, it drives me more nutty than people that are claiming that they're making your dick bigger. Because that's just so stupid. If you buy big dick pills, you're just an idiot, you know? But the fat thing is like, God, you're sad and you're just thinking, if I could just get rid of all this extra me.
It's the porn of vitamins and supplements, though. That sells the most of any other thing that you'll ever see. That's why they always have like celebrities like Anna Nicole Smith, Dr. Phil, and all that stuff like that.
Dr. Phil does it?
Or I mean, Dr. Oz. And I'm sure Dr. Phil does something.
What you need to do to make your relationship better is lose some fucking weight.
You got to wonder what it is about a doctor getting on TV as well, like the motivation.
True. Yeah, that is true. I was talking to a researcher, a friend of mine from up in Canada, and he said you always have to be, and that was his take on it, that there becomes an issue, even with like super intelligent people, when you become a celebrity, when you're a celebrity doctor, when you're a celebrity astronomer, when you're a celebrity, whatever, that there's the pitfalls of fame that fall into that, and the monetary benefits of twisting information in one way or another, like what Dr. Oz is doing. He's obviously getting paid by these companies to say that they have these fat pills. But he's so stupid, man. They asked him, would you say that a pill is a miracle, you know, and he's like, no, well, I thought the word miracle, I mean, you certainly couldn't say a miracle in terms of, you said miracle on your show, you fuckhead. Yeah. More than one. They showed, it was Jon Stewart or that other guy, the new guy on HBO. Who's the new guy on HBO with the glasses? John Oliver. I trust people with English accent and glasses. Those implicitly. I immediately trust those guys. But he's really good. His show is really good, and he did a fantastic thing breaking down what a scumbag Dr. Oz is.
You know,
it's a really good video.
Sometimes you see those like infomercials where there'll be a doctor who will vouch for something that's happening there. You almost wonder if there shouldn't be some kind of regulation, if that's some kind of abuse of their position in society or something.
Well, it's abusive, and here's one of the more insidious things about it. The real problem is there are things out there that can benefit you, but the only way to find out is to get things that have been backed by science. Double-blind, placebo-controlled tests, things that have been done where you know for sure. And getting back to Onnit, all the stuff that we sell is stuff that there's a history of human use. It goes back a long time, and there's research pages on every one of the supplements. And supplements are just a part of what we sell at Onnit, but I think that supplements can give you things that you're just not going to get from your diet. When it comes to Alpha Brain, nootropics and things along those lines, the amount of food that you would have to eat to get the same nutrients that you would get from 4 Alpha Brain pills is pretty fucking substantial. You'd have to eat like bowls of moss, and you got to keep that shit fresh, and you wouldn't be able to take it on a plane. There's a lot of issues with it. Also, I think that when we isolate and locate various components of food that are beneficial for people, like, that is a scientific thing. Like, there's this idea of anti-science in connection to nutrients and vitamins, and nothing could be crazier. The issue is that some of them are being sold without this science, and that some of them are just bullshit. And we at Onnit are very committed to making sure anything we sell has some sort of benefit that's absolutely provable. If you go to Alpha Brain and read the research page, we've conducted our own studies. We're in the middle of the second one right now. We conducted one, a double-blind, placebo-controlled study that showed benefit in memory. It showed a couple statistically measurable numbers, and you could see those. We have it all listed. And we also have all the data that is currently available, all the studies that have been done on the individual ingredients, which is very important to point out. Before we sell anything, before we do it, we make sure that there's data on the individual ingredients first. The idea behind things like Alpha Brain are that you can combine various nutrients and use them in a synergistic fashion. Boy, I sound smart when I say that, but I'm actually really dumb. So don't listen to me. Go to onnit.com and read all that shit. On top of that, we sell the very best strength and conditioning equipment that you could buy. I like kettlebells. I'm a huge fan of them because I believe that when you're swinging things and using momentum and using your whole body as one unit, it mimics actions that you would have in the real world. Like even just like moving furniture or something like that. Like there's kettlebell exercises that would make you better at picking up shit and moving around your house. As practical as that. Kettlebell swings, when you're doing pass-throughs in between your legs, like you're doing figure eights in between your legs with kettlebells, when you're doing cleans and presses and cleans and jerks, all those different exercises strengthen your whole body as an individual unit. And when it comes to the term human optimization, I mean, that embodies it, in my opinion. That's what I'm interested in. I think the human body should be like a race car. And I think that if you have a race car and for whatever reason you don't want to put race fuel in it, and for whatever reason you don't want to give it a 500 horsepower engine, and for whatever reason you don't want to give it big fat tires that grip the road, guess what, fuckface? Your race car is going to suck. It's just going to suck. It's just not going to work as well as a race car that is designed and constructed by a guy who took his body, or a gal who took their body and did the best thing they could do for it. Drank a lot of water, ate fresh leafy green vegetables, takes in a lot of high quality protein, and exercise. Make that motherfucker work. You gotta exercise. It's one of the most critical parts of life. Because if your body doesn't think that it has to do anything, guess what? It just starts to go soft and get useless. If your body doesn't think that it has to work, it goes, well, we don't have to use any resources staying healthy and fit. Let's just fucking turn into a ball of mush. Don't let that shit happen to you, people. All right, go to onnit.com, Onnit, and if you use the code word Rogan, you will save 10% off any and all supplements. All supplements have a 100% money back guarantee. First 30 pills for 90 days. You don't even have to return the pills. Just say, hey man, I took New Mood. I didn't feel any better. Well, you're a fucking freak. Here's your money back, okay? And if you're mad at us, you're selling snake oil, go read the research behind it. There's a reason why we sell it, and the reason is we are trying to give people an edge in life, an edge that I, myself, personally enjoy. God, that sounds douchey, but it is true. I think you get an edge in how I will say it in reference to my own self, because the only reference I really have. I don't know how other people feel, but my own self. When I'm eating healthy, I exercise regularly, and I take supplements, I feel better. Onnit.com, Onnit. Use the code word Rogan. Save 10% off any and all supplements. Again, tonight, is there any tickets left?
Yeah, there's still tickets left. IceHouseComedy.com. And it's Sarah Tiana, Joe Rogan, Tony Hinchcliffe, Greg Fitzsimmons, and myself.
Powerful show. And it's in the little room at the Ice House, which is so much fun. And by the way, Joey Diaz and Mad Flavor, a.k.a. Mad Flavor, rather, and Dom Herrera will be at the Ice House in the big room at the same time. So it's a fucking party at the Ice House. It's going to be a great night
at the Ice House.
My friends! All right, without any further ado, Lewis from Unbox Therapy is here. Let's fucking geek out.
Let's do it.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
I love when the dude shows up at a podcast and he's got a bunch of shit that if I saw on a shelf, I'd be like, ooh, what's that?
I figured coming straight from Google I.O. that it would make a lot of sense to bring some of this stuff inside. Would have been a shame to leave
What
it out
exactly
there.
is Google I.O.?
It's their developers conference, so it's focused on bringing together people that are making apps, sort of Google-centric type of applications, but it's also turned into a consumer-facing conference because a lot of people are paying attention at that time. I think they had 1 million concurrent streamers of the actual event. So
1 million?
1 million worldwide.
Concurrent?
So, concurrent.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
That's incredible.
It sounded like too much to me, but I'm not going to question Google.
Well, that's a good television show on HBO. Right?
Yeah.
Isn't it? I mean, like if what does Game of Thrones get on Sunday night?
I don't know if they do it concurrent. I guess it would be.
I would imagine. I mean, a lot of it's DVR'd, right? In this day and age.
That's what I was wondering.
Almost everything's DVR'd.
Yeah. So it has to be an event where you sort of feel like you need to capture or catch it live, or else you're going to miss something. Whereas, I mean, you could watch the Google I/O conference after, but yeah, a lot of people paying a lot of attention to the things they were doing.
What do those Macworld conferences? Those are the big ones, right? What are those?
Not anymore.
They're not big.
Not anymore. WWDC, Apple holds its own conferences now. So Macworld was actually like an independent body, and they just used it as a vehicle to introduce new products. It was like a convention for Apple and Apple-related stuff.
Right.
And they decided to opt out of all third-party conventions. They're not at CES in any form.
Apple's not.
Apple, they want to control the entire experience. And so many of them happen on their campus, and then some happen in downtown San Francisco, like Google I/O.
That's a big point of debate and dispute, isn't it, with Apple?
Yeah, the controlled environment?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Always has been.
For sure. I mean, there's good sides and bad sides to that kind of approach. Obviously, controlling the entire software and hardware experience means that you're going to get a product that generally is fairly polished. But from an innovation standpoint, it means you're sort of cutting off, your limbs in a sense that you're not bringing people into that development circle that might have otherwise been there, because it is sort of a walled garden effect.
Yeah, isn't that fascinating? I always remember back in the day when the clones were legal. There was
right,
Apple clones. You'd be able to go, and there were stores that would construct you an Apple computer.
You mean like semi-recently, like Hackintoshes, they were called?
Yeah, well, not even semi-recently. A long time ago. It used to be actual retail distributors.
Right.
They used to sell Mac products.
I recall.
But way more powerful than Apple was making them.
Right.
They would sell them with 5 fucking hard drives and souped up
I built a couple of them
motherboards.
myself.
Did you really?
Yeah, way back.
and then Apple just put the kibosh on that.
Yeah, I can almost remember the name of the big company. It was like either Cylon or Psy something.
Yes, I think it was Cylon.
And there was some kind of court case, and they had to stop.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to go up against Apple in court.
Well, back then Apple was way weaker, but still formidable.
Still scary as hell. Man. Yeah.
But they now are the one computer. But the problem is, if you look at it from the product point of view,
right.
They make the best shit. They just do. They make the best laptops. They make the best desktops. They make the shit that crashes the least. They make the operating system that's the most beautiful.
I would say they make the best shit for the most people.
For the most people.
Yeah, because I think that if you really want to get in there and tinker, if you're like a heavy-duty power user, then a lot of this, like you look at this MacBook Air or your MacBook Pro, there's so much of it that's embedded.
Right.
It requires the entire package topper. You want to go in there and put more RAM in it or something, or swap out a hard drive. It's not going to happen.
You got to bring it somewhere, and the geniuses, the Apple geniuses, how pretentious you. Look, I love Apple, but how fucking dare you?
How do you feel about the Apple Store experience in general?
I enjoy it.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Right.
I think it's a very busy place when it comes to selling computers.
Right.
Remember when Windows tried to have a Windows store and
they're still trying.
You could coyote hunt in there.
Yeah, that's right.
you could fucking find coyotes hiding out.
Well, the thing is,
nobody in those fucking things.
No,
man.
I took a picture of an empty one before and tweeted it out, and everybody got it. They're not known for selling hardware, right?
Right.
They were a software company. You see a Microsoft sign in a mall, it's like, what am I buying here?
Well, as an ignorant person, ignorant to as far as development of a product like a laptop, I'm pretty ignorant. I don't know too much other than the things I vaguely paid attention to online. What is stopping someone from making like a super high-end Windows laptop that looks like this, that feels like this?
There's so many that look and feel like this.
That are this high quality? Mm-hmm. And they give you the same experience.
No, because you're running Windows.
That's right. Why is Windows so much worse? They have so much money.
They dropped the ball.
How bad did they drop it?
Pretty bad. After the Windows ME experience of
It's not just like they dropped the ball. They dropped it, and then they shit on it, and then they fell on it, and then they broke their hip.
I know. I mean, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I don't recall an experience with Windows where I cracked open a laptop lid and felt that kind of experience ever. So even when XP was the thing, or even before that, 95 or however far back you want to go, you didn't get that same pleasure you get out of booting up an Apple product and getting into the OS and seeing the cohesion of the whole thing. Windows, even in the old days, was sort of like a necessary evil. Windows was the way to get to the shit you actually liked, whether you wanted to load a game or a web browser or whatever. But on its own, it's always been utilitarian. It's always been ugly.
Yeah, I always envy the dudes who ran NT. The Windows NT guys. Those are the guys who really knew things.
Oh, right.
He's running NT. Oh, NT. There's a bunch of shit you couldn't get, like drivers for certain video cards.
Yeah.
Like if you wanted to play games, if you ran NT, it'd be a real issue as far as...
People do that now with Linux. That's sort of the counterculture OS. Off the grid, open source.
Savages.
So IBM actually originally innovated that, and now I don't know who... I think it's just open source. I don't know if it's in anyone's hands now.
I do think Apple is the best of making an operating system slowly die like a cancer instead of just immediately. Like I'm going through an experience right now where my iMac is just dying. It's the operating system's dying. I redid it from scratch. I put new memory in it and stuff like that. The operating system's just saying like this model, you need to replace it soon. This
is the Brian Redband conspiracy theory. Ongoing conspiracy theory when it comes to operating systems.
But they do it with iPhones. Everyone knows you have an iPhone 4 and you get the new operating system, you got all the new updates, that's going to be way slower. Even some programs might not work.
It's not always the case. That does happen. Right. Like there are sometimes things that happen within an OS that require more hardware to be able to perform at the same level of smoothness.
Not in Brian's world. It's a goddamn conspiracy. Trying to get people to buy these new fucking things.
Well, I mean, if you want to get a Mac Pro, go for it. Like they're beautiful things.
But it seems like with this or with a Samsung Galaxy Note 3 or whatever, when new shit gets made, new possibilities, you're gonna need more processing power. Apps require more.
Definitely.
The new videos that they're taking, the new photographs, we take bursts of photographs. I mean, God, there's got to be some processing going on. Well,
definitely.
You're going to need a faster rig.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
There's no doubt that especially on the Apple products, but in general, there's this structure built in where the expectation is to upgrade your device every time that contract is up, right?
Well, I think there's no option. If you want to, if you're in the game, if you're in this loving electronics game that everyone in this room is in, okay, we're all fucking Dorkenheimers when it comes to new electronics. When you're in that game, you have to keep up. If you do not keep up, if you try to run an iPhone 3 on the newest iPhone software, it's just going to be clunky because the iPhone 3 didn't have near the capabilities. And these new applications, the video that you can take, the photos you can take, the new weird things, you could measure your heartbeat with your camera lens.
With this watch.
You could do it with your watch, but you could do it with your iPhone can do it, or an Android phone can do it just by holding your finger over the camera lens. And it measures Jamie showed it to me. I didn't think it would work.
I don't think
how does that work?
I don't believe it's
well,
accurate.
It's super accurate.
Yeah,
I know. I did it with a regular heart monitor.
Really?
Yeah, I did it with a chest heart monitor, and I did it with that at the same time. It's dead on.
Wow.
It's dead on. I have a new watch though that does it on your wrist. You don't have to. You don't have to wear a chest strap anymore.
He's got the newest watch that we're just announced, which is
just
amazing.
About it. You can see it on the bottom there.
Yeah.
That's the heart monitor on the bottom?
Yeah.
And what watch is this? Ooh, that's so pretty. Let me see. Oh, so pretty. How'd you make it green? It was green for a second.
Oh, it might have just.
Ooh, look at that.
Yeah, it might have gone into like sleep mode or something.
What's the model of that watch?
So that's the Gear Live, they're calling it, which is kind of bizarre.
They tried to get me into this at the Verizon store. I told them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, they probably tried to get you into the old version of it because this isn't even on the market yet.
Ah, you devil. You're one of those guys.
Yeah.
Ooh, look at that color I made it do. Oh, I made it go green.
So
pretty.
Yeah, the difference here between the previous Samsung watches and this one is this is the first to be running the open platform that Google has created. So not a modified version of software. It's running something called Android Wear. And what Google is hoping to do on your wrist is essentially replicate what they've done on the phone.
And if you're looking at it, this is the wrist thing. That thing in there is the monitor.
That's
the
right.
Monitor.
So it's optical. It's actually going to look under the surface of your skin.
And it has like a clasp on the back that locks into place. It's very well designed.
Yep.
That's crazy.
And so the beauty of this going this direction with it is if you can build a platform instead of a one-off device, then the likelihood that a developer will jump into it and build something really cool that you never foresaw happening is that much higher because of the mass market effect. If everyone's running the same software on their wrist, it's better for everyone. And so there's this kind of love-hate relationship between Samsung and Google over this because for the longest time, Samsung has been trying to diminish its reliance on Google as a whole. Like for their brand, it's so essential for them to sell products. And so they've been moving into some different operating systems now that are not very good, but independent of Google.
Yeah.
This is awesome, man.
Yeah,
this is really cool.
Yeah, so I can tell you some of what it does. I mean, it's not really that much new comparative to the old smartwatches. Essentially, you're going to get your notifications here. It has a microphone on it so that you can input voice commands, etc. So if you, for example, want to text somebody back, you can catch the notification here, respond to the text right on your wrist, and leave your phone in your pocket. They were saying on stage that they believe 70% of our interaction with our device could be curbed by having one of these on your wrists. So essentially, most of the day, your phone could remain in your pocket. But I was talking earlier with Brian about how really the goal here, the end game, is preemptive computing. So the idea that this thing will know what you want to do before you know that you want to do it, and that's what Google now has been pushing in that direction. So your flight lands, and it can estimate how long it's going to take you to get home, or the proximity sensor says that you're in the airport, so it looks at your travel itinerary and brings up your boarding pass right on your wrist. So those kinds of things are what make wearing something on your exterior more interesting, where a buzz in your pocket is maybe not as effective as the information you can get here.
Like, so the travel distance and things along those lines, things that updates, those Google updates that you get on your phone,
so,
temperature, warnings.
Yeah. So things like that. But again, I don't know that we can necessarily imagine all the potential uses for preemptive computing. I mean, essentially, much like the Nest thermostat, I don't know if you've heard of that before. It's a really fancy thermostat you put in your house. And it's a learning thermostat, and they just took over the marketplace. They recently got acquired by Google, by the way, and one of their designers was one of the original guys who worked on iPod. So really, there's a cool story there. But Anyways, they acquired Nest. Nest's product is a learning thermostat that never needs to be programmed. The programming is just you using it. So it's Wi-Fi connected, you come home and you adjust it, and you don't realize there's patterns in your behavior that at 3 o'clock you always like it to be a certain temperature, and at 6 it's different, and eventually it will draw out an algorithm to deal with your behavior, at which point you no longer need to ever worry about it or touch it. The goal of the product is to require less and less interaction from you the more you use it.
What's weird about Nest is that they also have these new products. They're now taking over washer and dryers. They're getting to the point where it is going to be like that old Flintstones, where they're the central computer of your house, and there's like, "Hello, computer, what are you doing here?" They also have these smoke detectors that also do carbon monoxide and stuff like that. So they could even turn off and be like, "Oh, let's turn on the oven. Let's gas this guy and kill him." So Google's going to be able to murder us in our house in the future,
or warn you if someone's breaking into your house trying to murder you.
Well, they just acquired Dropcam, which is what I've been preaching about forever, because Dropcam is one of the greatest, I think, inventions in a long time. It's these little cameras that film amazing HD, and that you could put all over your house that connect to your Wi-Fi, and then you get a text like, "Oh, somebody's walking through my house." You're sitting there watching full HD. It's recording in the cloud for you, recording all the stuff. And it could also learn certain things, like just watch this part of the house. You know if it's me walking around, because it's doing detections of what kind of object motions it is.
Do you shut all that off, cover it with t-shirts when you fuck? do you put like socks over them?
When I remember. And then you can
Of course not. He needs to have that in the cloud.
No, I need that. No, I need that in the cloud so it can get hacked, but I also need it. How about as proof? What if, like that video we were talking about, that guy that was doing the drone over the beach, and that woman attacked him, and he had recorded it. You know, if it wasn't for his little recording there, what would have happened?
She said that he attacked her.
Right.
Yeah, but there was a video of her beating the shit out of him.
But what if you meet a girl at a bar, you're both drunk, and you go back to your living room like that comedian that just happened to a comic recently in Denver, and he got in a whole bunch of trouble.
But how do you feel about that world, though? Everything being recorded.
That's the question I was going to ask.
It's going to be great once something bad happens. When nothing's bad happening, and I don't really care, you know.
Sort of. Except if you do something fucked up and someone gets a hold of it.
Yeah, just don't do anything fucked up. It's great. It's like that Lego movie. Everything is awesome.
Is it really that? I don't know if it's really that simple, though, because you've seen
access.
Yeah, and you've seen before, like, the effect of, say, for example, editing on the end product on a show or something like that. You can totally change context, change narrative. Somebody having footage of you doing any kind of behavior could potentially be used to harm you.
But we all know if you have a Photoshop that there's ways to detect if it's Photoshop, if there's an edited. There's so much smart little algorithms that you could tell that there's one grain that's not supposed to be there in a film.
Sure.
Yeah, that's as far as like actually altering the image itself, but not the context of the image itself. You know, you could have someone doing something that's actually not fucked up if you knew the whole story, but you take that video and connect it to something else. Yeah, it's an issue. It's certainly an issue, and it's certainly an issue because there's people that have that power over others. You know, that's what the real issue with the NSA is. Like, wait a minute, you're monitoring every single person in the country? Like, that? Are you assuming we're all criminals? Because if not, then do you pick a target like that you know is innocent? Is it okay for you to monitor them? No, it's not. Right? We all agree. So the only reason why it's okay is you're looking at us all as potential criminals. That's a real issue.
For sure, definitely.
Just that philosophy of government, that philosophy of ruling over people, because it's omnipotent.
For sure. On my way over, this just reminded me of something, or before I left the hotel, I saw on the TV about that guy whose kid died in the back seat of his car. I don't know if you heard about this. In Georgia. His did
he leave the kid in the back seat?
Yeah.
How old was the kid? The kid was a toddler.
Yeah, kid had a stroke.
Left him in the back seat, overheated, and died. And today, I guess, they find out the dude was Googling hot car death, backseat death, prior to the event.
Oh, just to see how long it would take. Oh, my God,
so he did it on purpose.
That's the thought.
Oh, no.
Or he was saying how long he could leave his kid in there while he runs and gets
fine, but that's pretty fucked up on its own, man.
Either one is fucked up. He tried to kill his kid. He killed his kid. Wow.
See, it's the problem is stories like that resonate so close to home that you're like, fuck it, give them all the power they need. You can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's how I feel sometimes. Don't even pull this up, dude. I don't want to see that guy's face.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Like sometimes I feel like that when it comes to like location services. You know, like,
Right.
do you want Google to know where you are? Like,
Right.
I guess. And you have to think about where am I? What am I doing?
I showed him on yesterday's podcast how everyone's iPhones has it on default,
Yep.
just all the locations
Yep,
that they
yeah.
sit at.
Yeah, that's right.
Very strange that's
It
a
is, and
default thing.
you really start to wonder about all of this power we give to these devices over us, to these companies that we have this inherent trust. We're at a point now where we rely on these things to a degree that doesn't really allow for an opt-out. You know, not for me, obviously.
Right.
Not for this podcast. You know, not for all kinds of exercises.
And if we knew that the police and the DEA and the whatever organization that might be investigating you was infallible and super ethical, there was no corruption, there was no issues whatsoever with
Right.
people lying in order to close cases to make
Right,
their
right.
ego look better.
right.
But we know that's true. We know that's true. We know there's been a lot of
course.
prosecutors that have willingly put people in jail because they didn't want to admit they were wrong, they got the wrong person, and they wanted to convict those people.
Those stories always mess me up when this guy gets let out of jail 25 years later on DNA. It seems like the only truth is the scientific truth. You know, it seems there's no other truth. Once it's in human beings' hands, it's like Google with these self-driving cars.
Right.
Like they can eliminate so much.
Yeah, almost all accidents.
Yeah, like 90% are human error. Right? Look at airplanes. How their safety records are insane, and the majority of that we'll put a plane in the sky and let it fly itself, but we won't let a car on the road do so. Yet the number one way that you will die between the ages of 4 and 34 is in a vehicle.
Well, we're letting it happen. When you say we're not going to let it happen, like they're letting Google cars happen. They're driving them right now.
For sure. Well, they're out there, but they're not publicly available. There will be some. You can't. I mean, the oil and gas companies, the dealerships. Look what they did to Tesla in New Jersey. There,
I don't think they'll be able to do that.
not
I really
long term,
don't.
not long term, but they can put. You know, sort of like the marijuana thing in Colorado. Like it ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
It goes a little bit this way, comes back that way.
Well, I think it'd be so transparent, though. It'd be the real issue. Like, why would you try to avoid something that is easy, convenient, and unbelievably safe?
It'll just there'll be somebody with some kind of economic.
I think personal freedom issues are going to still apply. Like, I like to be able to drive my own car. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Could you imagine a point at which that becomes illegal? I mean,
It could happen.
Definitely.
I mean, or you would have to take your car to a fucking racetrack. Can you imagine if the only way you could drive your Subaru was to take on a racetrack?
Well, but if you haven't,
relic.
I sometimes feel like on the regular roads, if you have a really nice car, it's kind of like, you know, putting a muzzle on a dog. You know, you really to get the most out of it. A racetrack would be good anyways.
That is definitely true to get the most out of it, but damn,
you can get
a lot
something.
out of it
Yeah,
on
no,
a regular road.
definitely. You can still get something.
You can get a lot out of it. It depends on where road. Take like Angels Crest Forest,
Right.
The Angels Crest Highway. You've been up there. You know, like out near where that gun range is too.
Right.
Like
Pasadena.
all these crazy winding
Right,
roads
right,
are
right.
beautiful. It's so fun to drive.
There is a way. It's just that, unfortunately, 98% of the way people drive sucks. Like you're sitting in gridlock.
First of all, your phone should not receive or send texts once it's in the phone, once it's in the car.
Right.
It should be a thing where the car recognizes
Actually,
via Bluetooth that your phone
that's a
is in
good
the car.
segue.
No text, fuckface.
That's a good segue because one of the announcements actually at Google I/O was Google in the car, which again talks to all these different devices and is essentially going to overhaul your car dash unit, which, by the way, they all suck. They're all terrible. Everyone's experienced the shitty capacitive screens and the slow input, and pretty much everyone agrees just slapping your phone in the center of the dash is going to give you a better experience than the $3,000 or $4,000 unit that the car company installed.
Yeah.
Apparently, part of what holds them back is that they have to have approval so far in advance, 3 years or 4 years or something, to get approved to go into a motor vehicle that they can't. You know, that they're so far behind by the time you're actually driving it that you've got a crappy experience. But the goal here for Google is that your phone is actually the brain, because this is modular. This changes. You upgrade this all the time. Your car, on the other hand, not so much. So if this is the brain doing all the processing and just outputting video to a monitor that also happens to be touchscreen, you don't necessarily have to worry about that so much. New points of interest on nav, for example. They don't happen on these locked off circumstances, whether you have a VW or a Ford or whatever. Each one of those experiences relies on those companies to go input those new POIs. So a new restaurant opens, it's not going to be there. Whereas in the case of this, it's always going to be current information.
Wow. So the phone will the car will sort of act as an app.
Sort of. I would honestly think of it as more of an output method. So like, basically, imagine when you plug this phone into a TV, you would see this. Let's say you see this image up on the screen there. Mm-hmm. So let's imagine the same thing, but on your car dash.
Right.
Why not? Why we're all doing this anyway?
What did I say? Phone would be an app. What I meant is your car would be an app.
Yeah.
Essentially, your car you'd plug into your phone. I mean, it'd be like. You ever seen those dudes who run those really large lenses? They take photographs, they plug it in, and there's software that allows you to use these lenses with certain cell phones.
Oh, really?
Have you seen them?
Yeah. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they make large lenses. Jamie, you know about all that shit, right?
Like a physical adapter?
Yeah, they put like a physical
slap
lens
it on.
over.
Oh, I've seen
some
those.
of them have applications
that
go along
definitely,
with them.
Definitely.
Sort of the car is sort of acting like that. It's like an extension. And there's some sort of an application that will allow your car to interface with your phone.
The only thing is you wouldn't have to do any work. Like, essentially, it would be baked into your phone, and if you never used it, you'd never need to worry about it.
But you would have to have a specific operating system, though. Because, like, say if you have Subaru, and Subaru only handles Android, but you have an iPhone.
Exactly. So they announced, like, 50 auto manufacturers that are on board.
That's a huge pain in the dick, though, when it comes to switching phones. Like, I like going back and forth from Android to Apple.
And this is something I wanted to talk about, how now with more and more connected devices, it's becoming super important to pick your team.
Oh, no.
I know.
Devicism. You're separating people. I like both. I really do. I love my Note. I love the screen. The screen's incredible. I love the online experience. Yep. But you know what I got recently, man? I got a fucking iPad Air, the big one, with a Verizon connection.
That's what I got, boo.
You have a Verizon connection on that bitch?
Yep.
Yeah, my web browsing with a laptop my web browsing with a phone are basically over.
You know what's great about this also, Joe, is when you're on the road, I have AT&T as my as my cell phone, but a lot of places AT&T sucks or vice versa, and you can just make a hotspot using this, so you're always having the best network.
Oh, clever boy.
Well,
clever boy.
There's an interesting thing there in that picking a platform, maybe it won't be such an issue in the future anyways, because I sort of view, as much as I like Apple, I mean, I've got products here, I use the iPhone is in my pocket daily, I got this laptop here, they have zero traction in emerging markets at all. It's not even of interest to them. They sell here and only here.
I don't know about you, but I'm American, and I don't really give a fuck about some mud hut in the middle of nowhere.
Except that those people in those mud huts are making killer apps now.
Oh, damn it.
And if their first device that they get their hands on happens to be an Android device, that matters.
Right. Yeah.
This is a global circumstance.
I've been saying for a while that it's almost like Apple can't win. Because even though they have really high-level stuff, and you start looking at like the Moto M8, you go, ooh, that's pretty goddamn close to an iPhone.
Right.
I mean, if it just had a better camera, the camera's kind of whack.
I've heard you guys talk about this before. I wanted to talk about this specifically. Cell phone cameras. Okay. Everybody in the tech world knows that this thing takes the best Instagram photos, right?
Mm-hmm. Instagram.
iPhone.
Okay, I said that specifically because it's the number one way that we share photos, and ultimately, how you share it is the biggest part of it. Who cares if it looks great on your phone when other people have to look at it if it doesn't? So other phones came out, and you guys talked about, and there was one from
Note. Instagram you saying this.
There you go. Do I keep talking?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. So other devices came out. There's a Nokia device. It's a 41 megapixel phone. Windows phone.
41
megapixel.
Jesus.
But you see, that device is not focused on the output method. It's just like, let's just make these crazy images that are huge. Well, how the hell do I get that thing onto Instagram? For the longest time, Windows Phone didn't even have Instagram. But here's the problem, okay? Instagram is a piece of software. And in order for it to work smoothly, it has to compress your photos. Okay? So the thing you're taking on your phone just in the camera app is not the same thing that other people end up seeing on the other side of Instagram.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that compression algorithm is very sophisticated. It has to go in there and figure out what can I remove and what do I need to leave in to make a beautiful picture, right? Now, if you're building the iOS side of Instagram, of that app, it's very easy to build because what are your parameters? It's the same camera every time, right?
Right.
Android, holy shit. How many Android phones are on the market?
A lot of fucking Android phones.
So now, how many parameters as a developer do you need to deal with because all those phones have different attributes? So the way they take a picture is different. So going in and trying to figure out what to remove in terms of bits and bytes to still have a good picture on the other side is very difficult to do. So it's not necessarily a technical limitation on the side of the device. The Galaxy S5, for example, has a great camera. A great camera until you try to upload to Instagram.
Well, I'm talking about taking photos on my camera on both and trying to take the best photo.
Right. No, that exists too. This is a great camera. Don't get me wrong. It has a big aperture. This is still, like, in terms of mass market, like, you can't argue this against the Nokia one just because it hangs off the back. It's a giant thing. But what I'm saying is the bigger problem, I believe, the bigger problem is the Instagram problem. People hit me up on Twitter all the time saying, like, my photos look great. Then I upload them, they look like mud. They look like shit. Once I get them up there. So this goes deep. Tech guys will carry around 2 devices for that specific reason. I will take pictures on, even if I took a picture on here,
you would send it to your iPhone.
But if I uploaded it on here, it would be different.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, when I upload my photos from both of my devices, a Note 3 and my iPhone 5S, all my fucking phones, all my Notes photos are shit compared to this camera.
They're not as good.
And if you have a program like Instagram that is taking random, because a lot of times I use Instagram, but just like photos I find on the internet, like I'll take screenshots.
That's another good example.
And those programs should be able to be like, okay, we're going to make everything a screenshot that's uploaded through this, algorithm. Like, meaning, like, if you have a photo that's taken on one camera, you have a screenshot, you have a camera that you uploaded, whatever. All those photos should be able to go through one single programming thing. Like, we're all going to transfer this into what a screenshot is of that phone or whatever. Meaning, it shouldn't be like, who cares what different photos it is? It's the programming that should be able to interpret and output it.
No doubt about it. But it's just, if you say you're a developer on Instagram, first of all, Instagram's not really making much money right now, anyways. But if you're
how could they be? That's a real question. I mean, do people pay for Instagram?
Yeah, you may start
facial recognition so that they can own all your faces.
That's one aspect.
Can you download it? Do you download it for free or do you pay for it?
No. It's a free app. But you will eventually start to see promoted Instagram posts from brands in your feed. No choice.
Ew.
Twitter's doing
it. Do they own
it? Twitter is doing it, and they gross me out when they do it. When I read them.
Promoted tweets. Your friend is following X brand.
Does Instagram own your photos? Are they allowed to use whatever?
Oh, they updated their TOS because they said that, and then people freaked out, and then they modded it. And I'm not sure what the current state of their terms of service is, but honestly, Instagram's probably my favorite social network outside of YouTube.
Me too.
Because it's just streamlined. It's images. It's fast. There's not too much. Facebook is a disaster, And I mean, I'm pretty sure that's why they purchased them. For example, if I put a picture on Instagram from an interactivity stamp, this is how you know software is working when people want to use it. If I put a picture on Instagram, the comment stream is happening faster than anywhere else, even though I don't have the same number of followers.
There were a lot of douchebags on Instagram, though.
Oh,
I think maybe
most
even
definitely.
more than on Twitter.
Oh yeah, more on Twitter.
What do you
less
mean?
On YouTube.
Can we do a douchebag definition?
Impossible.
When you say douchebag, there, I'm curious as to what specifically.
Just dumb assholes.
Oh, okay.
Just dumb,
lots of
insulting
that.
assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you ever go to Kim Kardashian's Instagram page?
Not in a long time.
Louises, go there and just read some of the fucking comments about her children.
Right.
I mean, anything that happens, just the fucking hate.
I'm sure it's there.
It's diluted YouTube. It's because you're commenting on a photo or a video instead of like a Twitter where you're just talking about words.
I honestly think anything worth anything should be comments deleted. Comics disabled, because the problem is, like, they very rarely, it's rare that it generates a really fascinating conversation in the comments. It's super common that it's just cunty shitheads.
It depends on the subject matter. Like, in my case, sometimes I do get relevant discussion in the comments.
Yeah, me too.
Tech discussion.
Like, they're pretty respectful, but you do get this weird fanboyism stuff that gets militant. Surprisingly, it's bizarre.
Like, in what way?
I don't know. I have this theory, like, when you go to a coffee shop and you look around, you're at Starbucks, everyone has their phones on the table. You notice that? Like,
Yes.
like it's in a public space. It's like representative of you in some way.
Right.
And I have this feeling that this is, for a lot of people, this is a major investment, outside of their car or whatever. It's really close to you. It's in your pocket all the time. And so I think people are really concerned with making the wrong decision. They're really concerned that their thing is not the best. And so in my case, what will happen is I'll put up a video within, they haven't even had time to finish watching it, and Apple sucks or Android sucks or whatever. And really, it's fear. It's fear that you made the wrong decision. And so, like many places in life, you get angry when you're afraid. And so, God forbid a new product comes out that obsoletes yours, and you don't have the money to replace it. So you take this position of defending the other thing because that's easier than justifying the cost of the new one. So I've actually there were a couple of really cool articles on fanboyism that I was interviewed for, and we went deep into how people sort of figure that out. But there's definitely this undercurrent below the tech space, the consumer product space, where these are becoming more and more like fashion symbols, representative of your personality, maybe more so than as a tool. Less of a hammer and more like a piece of jewelry, like a watch or something.
Isn't it also that people just love being on teams, whether it's Team Democrat, Team Republican, Team Chevy,
most definitely. And I've done some rants on this in the past. Like, I feel the need to tell people, like, I'm a fan of technology. When I was coming up as a kid, like, if anybody brought me any of this stuff, I would be super excited.
Of course.
And I'm cool with saying that, know. But yeah, there is definitely a team aspect where people, they want to belong to something. I say belong to team technology if that's what you're into, because the truth is these devices and these platforms push one another. That the positive things that happen in Android push iOS to be better, and the positive things that happen in iOS push Android to be better. And the same thing goes for laptops, desktops. Really, anywhere there's innovation, having a little bit of competition is a positive thing. Yeah,
unquestionably. And I think that it's important that there's all this competition out there, and it's important that there's debate. But people just have to be it's just assholes. Just so many.
That's true as well.
That's really what it is.
They're out there.
People just getting all slobber-mouthed about their various platforms.
It's easy to do, right? Getting angry is probably the easiest thing to do.
It's one of the easiest.
In terms of emotions. Yeah. Anger is a reaction that people that don't have the ability to process something, they choose anger. It's the easiest one. So, but yeah, any kind of like those are not the dominating comments. Definitely not on my stuff. The dominating ones are more along the lines of like I said, technology in general, being happy about innovation. You post a new unboxing video of one of these things, and everybody's cool with it, and everybody's interested. And that's part of the reason why people watch my videos, is because they sort of want to see the whole movement of the place in general. Like it could have been an Apple channel. A lot of people do that. Like they'll have like an iOS related channel where they'll do app reviews specifically for a platform or something. But yeah, I don't want to give them a bad rap completely. They're not all douchebags.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
It's a small, loud minority.
Yeah.
Really. But that loud minority can ruin the comment section.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
YouTube implemented this idea where you have your real name.
That's a great idea. I love that idea. They show a fucking picture of you, too.
And a picture
of you when you wake up in the morning. What? Oh, you fuck.
So,
not so cocky now about Kim Kardashian, are you little puke?
So yeah, that's one way to remove anonymity on the web, but a lot of people don't necessarily like for example on Reddit. Could there ever be your real identity on Reddit?
That's interesting. There's benefits, there's pros and cons. There's benefits to anonymity because a lot of times you'll get truth that someone might shield from you because of the social stigma of, just social cues and interactions. They might just back off of it and go, I wasn't honest with them. Yeah. Like you go to see someone in a movie, like, what'd you think, man? Like, oh, fucking Christ, the movie's a piece of shit. You don't say that. You go, oh, pretty fucking good, man. But if you were a random guy, there's so many things wrong with this movie, they should burn it on the moon.
Right. For sure.
You could say something like that. And you would really mean that.
So, I don't know. Do you think the things are better for people having that ability, or would they be better in the alternative space where you because anyways, right? When somebody really isn't into something, they don't really need to say it, do they?
No.
You know, you can feel it.
But I think that interaction in general, I think, first of all, I think this stage that we're in, this stage of commenting and being able to interact with people online, just like you put up a video,
right.
they could just shit all over your face. You know, I don't like his face. Fucking guy's annoying.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Well,
Pick something.
Anything.
Right.
You just decide.
Exactly.
This is a new ability
Yes.
that never existed a decade ago. Didn't exist
Yeah.
two decades ago.
No.
There was nothing remotely similar to this.
Not that I
so
can think of.
we don't really know how to deal with it. And there's so many people that just get away with doing things on it that
Right.
they would never do in real life.
sure.
Just because they really shouldn't have that ability. It's not a natural ability.
Right.
The natural ability to communicate with each other is it's an ebb and flow interaction.
Yeah.
It's not send a missile and sit back and wait, boom, and it explodes.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, now that you have the art form of trolling, like that's a
Yes.
whole thing.
And it is an art form when done well. I mean, it's sometimes
good,
it's,
right?
There's a new website that I just started following, or a new Twitter feed that I just started following. That's a total troll. It's kind of a parody account troll, but it turns into a troll. I should almost not say the name.
You don't want to. You don't
I don't
want
want
them?
anybody. Yeah, well, fuck it. It's all about salon.com. And it's salon, like their Twitter handle, I think, is salon.com. Like there's salon, that is one Twitter handle, and then there's salon.com. Hold on a second, I'll find out who it is. I'm following.
Salon is the official verified one. Supposedly.
Exactly.
So it's
exactly. It's called Salon. Yeah, it's salon.com, and it's hilarious. It's really funny.
The unfortunate part of that is them using that name may be a problem in the long term.
Keep it down.
You're the one that announced
damn it. Listen, they need more people. It's really funny. There was one about a kid, misogynist superheroes. Why men's rights activists are wearing capes.
Whoa.
And they're just trolling. It's really funny, man.
Yeah, see, if it's sophisticated and well thought out, it's acceptable in my opinion.
Scary, the 6 most popular video games that allow you to kill female players online. The last anti-Semitic slur. We need to stop using the J word already. Oh, they're just trolling. This is good.
That's gold.
I like this kind of trolling because if you go to the fucking comments, God, there's a lot of people that do not think this is trolling.
Really?
But isn't this the kind of trolling you hate, also?
Well, no, because this is obvious. But Mom, errands are gay. The 10-year-old's vile rant that proves what a homophobic patriarchy we live in.
I think there's a place for it.
It's obvious.
There's a place for it.
Come on, man. Anybody fucking reading that? Look, you don't deserve to be able to comment. This should be your test.
Yeah.
If you really believe this, you're either not paying attention, like you're half awake, or
how do you feel about-
you're
that's what I
too
say about
fucking
the Cougar
stupid to
video.
comment on
But how do you
things.
feel about this? How do you feel about this? What if there was some like reputation attached to your name? Like, because that's essentially what's happening on YouTube, right?
Right.
If you log onto a video and it happens to be somebody in your Google Plus circles, for example, they'll rise to the top of the comment feed.
Well, that's why you shouldn't use Google Plus, because that's retarded.
You don't have a choice for commenting now.
10 signs your cat might be racist. Look, there's a bunch of different ways to look at it. I don't think there's any absolute, but I think ultimately the real issue is that we're just not used to this kind of freedom, this freedom of communication and freedom of interaction,
Right.
freedom of reaching people, freedom of. I mean, there's websites dedicated to just like anything. Like you could reach people, you could
Right.
contact people, you could comment on people, you could start your own website, and boom, people comment on you. I mean, this kind of interaction, it's
fresh.
completely, it's an adolescent thing. So when you have cases like that guy that got fired because they outed him on Reddit, he used to do a lot of creepy shit on Reddit. Remember that guy? He was in Texas, I believe. He lived.
Yeah, his name was like something Acres.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something. And it was a really interesting debate because obviously the guy was really creepy online.
Yeah,
But to him, it was like a role that he was playing. To him, he got enjoyment out of this trolling and
Right.
posting pictures of dead people and whatever the fuck he was doing.
Yeah, I think his big one was creep shots, right?
I think so. Like
Yeah.
up the skirt type pictures.
Which, surprisingly, for a long time, if you searched for Reddit, it was the top hit. was like slash creep shots. So
Meanwhile, I want to know who's searching Reddit for creep shots.
no, but here's the thing: they banked a lot of dough on that guy's work, right?
Oh, Reddit did.
Of course, if they're accumulating traffic through Google searches, right, to that particular thread, ultimately they earn money through advertising revenue, like anyone else. Keeping people there is going to
right, but they're an open forum, completely open forum. Should they be
not completely?
Not completely, because they're moderated. Is that what you mean? Huh. So you're saying that by them tolerating, if it could be proved that they tolerated those creep shots.
He got a Reddit trophy, a statue for being one of the best moderators.
And he did a lot of upskirt shots?
Yeah, creep shots was, I think, the most famous thread or subreddit, sorry.
Oh, no. He ran a subreddit called Creep Shots?
Creep shots, and there was another one.
Wait a minute. So Reddit knew about the subreddit?
Yeah.
Oh.
That shit's sexy. I don't care what you guys
When it's done to guys?
what?
It's all kilts. All Scottish
I mean, that's still a, like...
Also, the underage ones, though, he was also on. So, under 18 only, and I believe the goal was to attempt to harvest pictures from girls' Facebook accounts, so you would pretend to be... You'd have, like, one of their friends' profile pictures. Mm-hmm. You'd be somebody at their school, or, I don't know, fake it.
Right.
Get access and then pull down the Facebook photos and upload them. So girls had no idea they were showing up on this subreddit until they found out at school the next day.
God damn, that is so fucked up. And there's a grown man doing that to a little girl.
And guess what the moderator's job was? To remove pictures of girls that look too old.
Oh my God.
That's great.
So what do you think about that? What's your thoughts about that?
I have a love-hate relationship with Reddit. Like, this idea that it's an open forum is one that everybody believes, but the vast majority of Reddit users are consumers, not producers, right? You're just there to consume content. You would never know if you're actually seeing an open forum or not. You're not managing it in any way. So they're like super against self-promotion, right? Mm-hmm. And this is how I've bumped into them a number of times, because I'll tweet out, if somebody's talking about me on Reddit, I'll tweet the link, right? On numerous occasions, tweeting that link brought the whole post down.
Wow. I just stay in my subreddit. I don't go out of Reddit much. I think it's good for certain things, like I use it for episode discussions of podcasts, or like the Death Squad subreddit and Joe's subreddit.
Listen,
is really
it's still
interesting.
human beings. There's obviously cool people there. Like, that's not up for discussion. But these veiled moderators in the background can essentially shape your experience there.
Well, there's also been issues with censorship. Remember Alexis Ohanian, when he was on the podcast, talked about issues of things being censored from technology forums?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Certain keywords.
Yeah.
Certain keywords would knock the post down immediately.
You couldn't type in those keywords.
Apple or whatever. A strange list of keywords. Someone did a little investigation on it. They did a little study. So
I wonder if that's still the case.
I haven't attempted.
We actually found this out. I believe it was after Alexis was here, so we didn't get a chance to ask him about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're making money off of the fact that their forum gets a tremendous amount of traffic, and you have a subreddit that you're aware of, someone must be aware of that, correct?
Oh, definitely. It's not there anymore.
But how crazy is that you're censoring things like the word Apple or Samsung or whatever the technology words are.
Right.
You're censoring that, but you're not censoring upskirt shots of 18-year-olds.
Well, here's the thing.
Catfishing.
Upskirt shots and 18-year-old girls don't buy ads. Right? It's the free promotion they don't want. They don't want people hacking their system in a way, finding a way to get exposure through their platform without paying for it.
Right.
So, Twitter, Facebook's doing the same thing now. If Facebook promoted posts, I don't know how active you guys are on Facebook, but your post is reaching 5-10% of the actual audience that signed up to see your posts. And you want to reach more? Pay us money.
Right.
That's inevitably where we end up on any of this shit. Is that eventually they hook you and then they find a way to monetize.
How do you feel about Bitcoin? How do you feel about electronic currency? And
love it. Super cool. Yeah.
Fascinating, right?
I think. I'm not an expert, right? But I think that money is super low tech right now. Money sucks right now. Like, this idea that there's this intermediary body that needs to sit in between you and I if we want to exchange money.
Yeah.
That's bizarre in today's day and age. I mean, I can send you email that could be encrypted.
And here's how you know it's fucked. They have all the money. That's how you know the whole deal is rigged.
It's messed up.
What they're providing is really not that big of a deal. If
Not
you think
at
of it as
all.
far as
Not at all.
What are they storing? What are they doing? They're processing a bunch of things, mostly on computers today.
And that's what Bitcoin proved. Bitcoin proved it because Bitcoin was able to process transactions on an enormous scale. It was bigger than an independent institution, and they were able to do it in a fashion that's completely secure. And they were able to do it for free without any kind of venture capital. Right? They didn't you think about the fees you paid or how big the banks are. Go to any city. The biggest skyscrapers are the big banks, right? Insurance companies, financial institutions.
The crooks. All the crooks in their big fucking castles.
I mean, you think about it. Bitcoin came out and outed all those guys in a way because it said you don't need to take all this money to achieve the transaction, to achieve the end game. So I mean, I'm a big fan of alternative currencies in general. I don't know if it's going to be Bitcoin or something else. We're probably at a super early point right now with it. And it's going to be it's hard at any time when you're looking at something in its earliest form to see the end game, to see where it ends up. But when the first, for example, when the first iPhone jumped on the scene, I'll never forget that moment. Before that, the devices before that and after that, how much they changed in an instant. And so I feel like when there's some big dynamic moment that Bitcoin is able to achieve or alternative currencies are able to achieve, some really cool feature where we can, tap watches and spend money and we never have to pull anything out of our pocket. Like the Starbucks app. I'm using that shit all the time.
Do you is it one of those things you pull and you scan?
So so what it is like you don't have to, but you put in your favorite locations, and when it senses proximity nearby, you just swipe over and there's a barcode and you're done.
Or you could just shake it now. The latest
update, the latest one you can
it,
shake,
and it just brings up your payment, and it collects your every 10 times you get a free drink.
Loyalty program.
Yeah, and then it also gives you free music and free apps.
Yeah.
I mean, that Starbucks did their app right.
Oh, the Starbucks app is
every 10 times you get a free one.
Yeah, every 10 times you get a free
one.
That's
amazing. Yeah, that's incredible.
It automatically uploads, so you'll always have
And the thing is, in the past, I've been so reluctant to do rewards programs. This is so bizarre. You're at a department store and it's like every $1,000 you get you earn $1. And it's like, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
But this one, they made it in such a way that it's a more convenient purchasing process. So it's like, I'll take the loyalty on the side.
Yeah.
It's a side deal. Why not?
Right. That's a cool way of looking at it too. Yeah. That's nice that they did that. That's so clever. And 10-to-1 is a really good ratio. Buy 10 drinks, you get one free. Yep. That's really
I don't even know if
generous.
Is it 10?
Yeah, it's a 10, and you get to get whatever you want. So that's when you go, I'll have 7 shots chocolate, throw in
you get any
crazy.
Drink?
Yeah,
it's not that's fascinating. It's not even a commensurate drink, so you can buy 5 shots of espresso.
Yeah,
and then
I've done it before.
Yep, you can get a super drink.
Yep.
Wow.
And they give you one on your birthday as well.
Yep.
They give you because of the app?
The app just tells
that's
you
incredible.
It's your birthday, go get a free drink.
So when you're at the store, you hit the app and then just shake it and then it pays for the thing?
Yeah.
The world's getting ridiculous. How do you feel about Google Glass?
Actually, that's a good thing to talk about because I feel like these are the interim glass, these watches.
Interim. So that's going to get you to a glass.
One day. Glass is nowhere near ready for mass consumption.
Yeah.
It's $1,500 first of all, which to some people might not seem like a huge hurdle, but it's gigantic. And second of all, it's obtrusive. I just got back from San Francisco where there's glasses. There's a huge percentage of people wearing glass.
Didn't someone get in trouble for driving with them on?
I didn't hear that story, but I could imagine.
I think they had to drop the case.
Right.
But I think a guy got in trouble for driving with them on because they were saying that he was using his cell phone while he was driving.
I'm sure that's happened. I know some bars have outlawed them locally.
They should.
Yeah,
that's fucking crazy.
Well, they have those weird cameras that you can buy that look like buttons. They have those. And they'll also have the ones that Stanhope used. Stanhope had a hidden camera show for a while, and he had glasses. This was a long fucking time ago.
A little camera in the...
Yeah, I want to say this is in the 90s. Might have been the 90s. Doug had a really funny fucking hidden camera show, and one of the things he did is he had these glasses, and there was this little center thing, and you couldn't tell.
Oh, definitely.
So that already exists.
Yep. Yeah. But anyway, in the case of glass, I don't. There's this really weird experience. If you own it, you can't really wear it. If you go out wearing that, some people have no problem doing it, but it becomes the whole event. Like everybody wants to ask about it or try it. Maybe not so much anymore, but it's just not. There's something wrong with it. I don't know what. It's hard to pinpoint, right? But if I came in here wearing glass, immediately you would have a different perception of me.
Yes.
And I don't think we're ready to make that kind of a statement.
I think it's going to have to look like your glasses.
Yeah, it'll have to be regular glasses. And
It'll
that's,
have to be regular.
the end game.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean, as things get smaller and smaller, that shouldn't be prohibitive,
No,
right?
no.
Just the lenses themselves, the bars on the side of the lenses, just some sort of like right now, it's a little oversized and you swipe it.
Yeah.
You know, and I've done it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
No.
It felt silly to me. I don't want this thing in front of my face. I took it
and
off.
there's this and the prism, and I actually got the version.
But I wear sunglasses all the time. So if I went out and I had no navigation in my car, I just slap these bitches on and I see everything that's coming at me. I see the weather up here.
For sure.
I mean, that would be the shit. Why haven't they done this?
The shit.
Why haven't they just created some dope-ass Oakley-style sunglasses that have a fucking screen in it like a goddamn movie theater, and I'm driving around and I got all my information.
You're done.
Like,
Yeah,
oh, look,
you're all set
dude,
up.
your girlfriend's right over here.
That's what
She
everybody
thinks you're at
wants.
Target.
I think what it's going to be is like we're all going to have our own Google Glasses, but it's also going to have something that broadcasts our avatar. So it's not going to. We're going to feel comfortable you recording me because my face is going to be replaced with a cat face,
Right.
and my voice is going to be
Right.
replaced with something else.
That's just your
You know what I mean?
retarded world. No one's buying into
But
that. Get the fuck out of here.
In some ways, there's a race between glass and other forms of augmented reality too, like this thing I brought over here, this little piece of cardboard.
But ultimately, isn't like glasses the most convenient to have
Oh,
on
yeah.
and more
No.
common because people have them on all the time anyway?
Oh no, definitely.
What is this, Brian? What do you got here?
This is Oakley Airwaves, which is kind of like their version of like I don't know, like a Google Glass, where it has like its own like.
So it's skiing goggles.
Yeah.
Dude.
you can drive around with those.
That is
That's what I'm
dope.
talking about. Remember when I said the privacy face? That's what I was kind of talking about.
Whoa,
something like
hold up. That it has navigation?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, back that up. It has fucking navigation in your
Hey,
ski
do you wanna-
goggles?
Do you want to listen to this? Listen.
Fuck yeah,
Okay.
play that shit.
Okay.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, if we can get this to work.
That's amazing. Airwave 1.5, technology that delivers the goods straight to your brain. So what we're seeing right now is the speed, how fast you're going, the altitude, vertical, your jump analytics, so how high you're jumping, and it's showing as you're looking down the speed, your air time, buddy tracking, your phone. You can play music with this fucking thing. You're getting text messages. You're looking at your navigation screen. Look at you. You're picking your music. All dog shit music. Jesus Christ, kid. You got such cool technology.
But you're skiing. You're like,
But you're skiing. Fuck, man.
How are you interacting with all that stuff though?
Poorly. Crashing into trees. Sunny botoing yourself left and right. Look at the fucking... Oh, it slips off different lenses.
Yeah, you can put on sunglasses.
Dude,
style.
you can go Terminator style. I think I'm just going to wear this to the
Bluetooth
mall.
That's what I'm saying. It's just the paparazzi glasses thing that I was talking about. Like it's going to
But
be
not
Star
quite as
Wars.
big.
Yeah, not
She
as
had
big,
the
though.
really big one
Yeah.
that went over your whole face. That bitch was smart with that. That was a
It's
good
the same
move.
idea.
This is amazing, man. But if you're a skier, do you ski, Brian?
Yeah, I
You go
love
skiing.
skiing. I used to be in ski club.
Dude, ski with one of these bitches on? God damn, that would be cool as fuck. That's amazing.
Oakley.
Fuck yeah, Oakley.
Oakley.com Airwave if you want to watch it if you're listening to this.
Cool.
That's amazing. What a great idea. It's only a matter of time before someone did that. That's way better than Google Glass.
$600. That ain't
Definitely.
bad.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's way better than Google Glass.
I sometimes feel like when I watch those promos though that it's not.
they're bullshitting
it's not
you.
really gonna be what it
Yeah,
is.
it should be you doing it. Well, you know, I mean, that's what you do.
That's what I do, man.
Yeah.
I take the bullshit out of it.
What's been the most disappointing product that you had to do that to?
Wow.
Was there one product that you got
Sometimes, like, I'm trying to think right now.
where
Sometimes,
you're like, oh, I hope this
sometimes
follows
it's
good?
so shit that I wouldn't even want to give it the exposure. You know,
That's smart. yeah.
like
Give me an example of that so we can give it some exposure.
some guy. I hate doing this though. Some guys, it's like their dream. They got like a prototype
Fuck them.
product. And
Fuck them, their shitty ideas.
one guy this was back in the day, and when a lot of people were into like little docking stands for your phones and shit like that. And some guy had one like essentially like glued onto your phone. Like it was like this sloppy material. I regretted it immediately. I was upset. So that's an example.
So you put it on your phone?
Yeah.
Ugh, how'd you clean it off? Like with rubbing alcohol and shit?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's it? So a glue was
glue,
the worst thing?
Shitty glue. No, I mean, let me think. Chinese.
What about like big time stuff? Like a phone or a laptop that was dog shit?
Oh, wow. You want to go there?
I do want to go there.
I was upset with my PlayStation 4.
Really? How come?
Because the controllers are not very durable. I had within a few weeks, I had the rubber from the thumbsticks starting to degenerate. I posted a video. It has almost 1 million views.
Oh my goodness.
I tell you what I'm sick of. Behringer mixers. I found out that Behringer as a company, I've always used Behringer because I've always supported
You go for the
German brands.
budget stuff. Yeah.
No, I was just German brands.
It's Chinese.
Oh, wait, is it? But it was created in Germany, right, or something?
I think they just use a German name.
Okay, so hilarious.
Brian's done his research, bro. He always used German. Wait, what?
I don't know if it's Chinese. I'm pretty sure it's not German, though.
But no, actually, it was just the first mixer I ever got, so I just went with it.
Yeah.
But I've had to replace, like, I've spent more on mixers in the last 5 years, and then I researched
Podcast
it.
mixers.
Yeah, podcast
Yeah.
mixers. I just had to replace my third one, and this time I went with the Yamaha, just whatever. But I found out that there's, like, in the past, they've had, like, lawsuits and stuff where pretty much they just take a good mixer and just copy it with shitty parts. Like they're like the first version of like when you go get a fake iPhone in China.
Yep.
It's the exact same shit.
Yeah.
But like I went to a Guitar Center the other day and they were we stopped carrying all of Behringer because of this. And I just now found out after spending so much money on Behringer and having so much shit fry out.
So Yamaha's a good move, though, right?
Yamaha's pretty good. There's something with an M. I can't remember, like Moki or
Mackie.
Mackie supposedly is what everyone else loves.
How many times have you burnt out? What do we have here? What is that?
This
thing?
is a Behringer in the headphone. Behringer.
Jesus.
But yeah, I've replaced 3 like $400, $500 mixers in the last 2 years, 3 years.
Damn.
Yeah.
My headphone jack just went out like yesterday.
This is our second headphone jack.
Yeah, headphone jacks went out all the time. They all fucking suck. I'm sorry, Behringer. Not a
Can't
fan anymore.
believe you
These
said that.
these mics are the shit.
I just
though.
want to say
they
that
are.
the statements you just heard, the opinions are only that of Brian
That's my
Redband.
opinion.
They do not represent the rest of this podcast.
Sick
You know,
of it.
in general though, products have gotten a lot better.
They have to, right?
They've gotten just the like market wide. Like
You can't get away with a
no,
dud.
no, it's there's too much PR now.
Yeah,
It-
and total exposure. Like
Yep.
exposure, like that's one thing I fucking love, and one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on is the kind of videos that you do, and there's a lot of other folks that are doing them now.
Right.
They're so comprehensive.
Yeah.
They would have never existed on a network
No.
television show. Like even like when you used to have the old Tech TV days,
Yep.
which was excellent.
Yep.
I love the screensavers. I
Yep.
love that. They didn't have the time to do
No.
what you're doing.
No.
And specific to that device, like you don't have to worry about, I have to be off the air in 6 minutes because
No.
that's when the
No,
commercial
no.
goes. We have to go to break. There's no break. All that stuff is dog shit. That's that's silent movies.
Right.
You're doing a puppet show. You might as well be showing, this is a real monster. No, it's not. Okay, you can't use rubber claymation anymore.
Yep.
It's 2014, you fuck.
Yep.
And you can't keep reviewing tech items on television. So essentially what's going on is the internet has created a platform for you guys to completely change the technology review market
Right.
and make it super interactive. Like,
Right.
say if you're thinking about getting a new iPhone, you go online, go to CNET, go to
Yep.
your site, go to all these different sites, and you'll just hit review after review after review, informed, detailed, in-depth reviews
Right.
that many times the guy will say, I've had this phone for the past 5 days.
Yeah.
Fucking with it. Here are my thoughts.
yeah.
You're just not going to get that anywhere else.
No, it's the platform. The platform has enabled that to happen. Like it's enabled so many new forms of entertainment to happen.
Like this, like podcasting.
Like this, for example. As
Nobody
well.
would have given us a show. Not a fucking chance in hell. A radio show? Yeah, I'm bringing this guy with me. We're gonna. Yeah, he
But it's not as
occasionally
good.
says
You know
retarded
what?
shit, but it's
not
kind
as
of
good
cute.
because of the even the way you said that. Like in the old days, old media, somebody had to give you something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Now you go out and get it.
Well, the old days, someone had to hire you for a show.
That's what I mean.
There's no way you had to, there was a predetermined time slot. Like if you had a radio station, all you have on that radio station is the times that you're broadcasting.
Right.
We could simultaneously broadcast. I mean, we could, if we wanted to. If Brian and I got together and say, you know what, let's start a fucking podcast empire. Let's everybody that we can get contact online, have them send us. We could start hiring people. Before you know it, we could have 50 podcasts going on at the same time, just dumping them out into the internet. You don't have to have a 24-hour time period where, you know, Frosty, Heidi, and Frank are from 8 to 10, and then after that, it's fucking Conway and Steckler.
Yep.
You don't have to have that anymore.
No, and it brings up a lot of deficiencies in the traditional media model that now that everything is essentially...
They're dinosaurs!
Yeah, everything is essentially on demand. And it honestly feels strange for me to plan my day around a live event.
How about watching commercials? Don't you want to fucking throw up in your pants? Like, what are you showing me? Why is the program stopping for this horse shit?
To be honest with you, commercials don't need to be as bad as they are.
No, look at our formula, Joe. Now, we might do it a little long, but what if we were advertising Coca-Cola in 30 seconds and we could do whatever the fuck we want? Yeah. I would watch that. Like, oh my God,
so, here's the thing. Like, when the Super Bowl happens, everyone jumps.
I come. I gotta replenish my glycogen. Corn syrup is good after you come.
Have you ever put a frog inside a can of Coke for 2 weeks?
Is Coke bad for you? Fuck yeah, it's bad for you. So's living in a city, you fuckface. Have a Coke and a smile and shut the fuck up, bitch. It's old school. Yeah, but they don't. But the only reason why that works is because I forced that. Like, they're constantly trying to get me to do ads in the middle of podcasts.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And every new ad, that's like one of the first things that comes up that's a debate, is like they want to interrupt the show and insert ads. I'm like, that's not an option.
It's a super
stupid,
crappy model.
Doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. And
it's offensive.
It's a holdover. It's a holdover from a time that doesn't exist anymore. It's like, well, let's just take the platform that existed and bolt it onto this new thing instead of developing something from the ground up that fits with this language. This is a whole new language. I even feel this way about individual social networks. Like, I feel like YouTube has a language, Facebook has a language, Twitter has a language, Instagram, that sort of, when you're a content producer, you sort of feel like all those places are the same because you're broadcasting to all of them. But ultimately, more often than not, those users are platform independent. They have a place where they like to get at you more than one other place, and that becomes their habit. And so, since their consumption model is unique, so say you're people who view this podcast on YouTube versus who listen to the audio only versus those are all independent people, all with their own mindset, and trying to figure out the right way of interacting with all those groups is something that big brands are trying to do now through their social experiments and etc. So when people come and talk to me, brands or advertisers or whoever it might be, it's like, listen, we need to build something from the ground up native to this platform. Don't bring me something from somewhere else. This is not a national ad campaign. This is 850,000 very sophisticated viewers with a super high sensitivity to bullshit, right? Because they're not used to getting it here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
They're not getting any of it.
They're not getting any of it
about your own life.
That's right.
People who are hosting podcasts will tell you the truth about their own personal fuck-ups.
Exactly. And so it's a really unique proposition, huge value for a brand. In some ways, I feel like this whole marketplace is heavily undervalued. When you compare CPM figures like from the traditional media world to this world, these people are more fucking dedicated.
Well, they're loyal if they know that you're kicking them the real deal. Unbox Therapy is not going to lie. You're not going to lie.
No.
You're deep. You're obviously.
I'm me.
Yeah, you're you, and you're also you're deep into discovering the flaws, which is actually essential to the development process.
For sure.
Like to ensure that you still have a job and that these companies create and innovate. It might be painful for them. They might not enjoy some of your criticisms, but it's critical.
I'll give you an example right now.
Please do.
Live example.
Oh, a live example.
Samsung keeps making these shitty ass chargers, okay?
Yes.
Look at this damn thing. This is the charger for their watch. This is a beautiful looking device.
Right.
That's the charger. Install the charger, Joe. Go for it.
Bitch.
You know who also has done that in the past? Sony used to do that shit all the time with their like Bluetooth headsets and shit.
Oh, you mean proprietary stuff?
Yeah.
Well, these are all going to be proprietary. That's what you got to do every night before bed. You're not doing that. You had a few drinks.
Well, that's why the new Apple
Late night.
Watch is going to be.
Dude, I'm coordinated as fuck. I'll do this all day. I'll be on heroin. I'll do this.
I'm not saying you can't do it, but that's not a pleasurable experience.
You're so funny.
That experience,
so you would like it to be just like a regular
because
USB?
You remember what I said before about opening up an Apple laptop? That breath of fresh air that you get, you can't measure it.
Right.
It just keeps you liking and using the device.
It's sort of like their keyboards and their mice.
Yeah.
They're so clean and everything.
It's just like I just want to look at the damn thing. You know what I mean? If a beautiful thing will always be more attractive. I forgot the damn charger for the LG G Watch, but
no worries.
LG, on the other hand, the entire back is a magnet.
Ooh.
All you do is just drop it.
I got something better.
LG wins.
Better. Apple's new watch, you just lay it down on the counter.
Of course. But the
Wait a minute. You lay it down on the counter and it charges?
Yep.
How's that work? Hold on.
So-
How's that possible?
Go ahead.
Well, a lot of you can do this right now. You can go to Best Buy and buy these things that fit on the back of your
you don't need
phone.
to buy, and some phones you don't need to buy anything. This
Yeah.
is already Qi enabled.
Yes, where you could just lay it down
Wireless
on a
charging.
mat and it will charge.
Oh, a mat. A specific part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I thought you were saying it charges in the air. I was like, how's
No.
that?
Apple's new watch supposedly has it where you could just lay it down on this mat. And,
Yeah.
build
I'll
it.
tell you my one
Very
criticism of the mats. The problem with the mat is traveling. Traveling with a goddamn mat.
Yeah.
Unless it becomes as big as the iPhone, and then hotels
Yeah.
just have that mat, which is probably going to happen.
If it's going to take a while, but Starbucks actually are starting to implement Qi-enabled surfaces, so it will happen, but it's definitely not there yet. And in the meantime, the little charger for this LG it's super thin and it's about the size of the watch, and they can connect if you put them together in your bag.
Cool.
So,
Because it has a magnet.
but I had the watch before this, the Galaxy Gear.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the Gear Live. The naming conventions are terrible. That's one of the hardest parts of the job, actually. Just getting the names right.
Well, it's better than like the
Gear-
old days of like model numbers. Like
Yeah, I
LB
guess so. But
721.
anyway, the Galaxy Gear had this wacky thing that strapped around the whole device. It was shit. It screwed up the experience for me, and I think they ruined the device. If the UI doesn't end here.
User interface.
Yeah, exactly. Or UE user
For people who are going, who the fuck is
or
he
user
talking about?
or user experience in general. A lot of people assume like if you're a developer, you're building it for this and that's it. No, this is UI. This aluminum or UE. It's user experience. The whole experience is encompassed in the way you interact with the damn thing.
Dude, you sound like a wine connoisseur. You sound like one of those dudes who's really into certain grapes.
Yeah, I think I'm getting fired up right now.
You're very much
getting fired up right now.
I like this guy.
Yeah, I like you too, man. I agree with you 100%. And I think that also what we were saying before is that these criticisms and this very detailed review that you'll do about these products is super critical. Super critical for the development. And should be hiring you.
Oh, I get lots of interest.
Do you get offers? Like
do-
Apple tell you to shut the fuck up. Just come over here.
Oh,
I'll give you money.
I'm sure Apple.
Shut the fuck up with your
I'm
V's.
sure Apple's not a huge fan of mine because I did
What?
some leaking of different components.
Oh, how dare you? How did
yeah.
you do that? You got it offline?
From China, yeah.
It's on the internet. It's out there.
Yeah,
it's
so
like peeing in the ocean.
Yeah.
You got to deal with it.
They're probably not a big fan of mine. It's funny, they did, at their keynote, I had leaked the iPad Air chassis, the entire body, before it came out. So I had the entire form factor, right? It was on Forbes. It was
Did
everywhere.
they get mad at you?
No, they didn't. I never heard a word about it. But in the keynote, they addressed it. Like the big keynote that everyone was watching, they're like, we think you guys might be familiar with this next device. Like Tim Cook addressed it. So I was like,
Did you feel like a
Someone-
certain amount of geek power right there?
I'm on the radar.
Ooh. Did you feel like you did something? Like you made an impact?
No, I didn't really, because I feel like these things they're gonna leak out regardless. There's just
Because
so
of guys like you.
Yeah.
That's like saying
Yeah.
someone's going to murder someone regardless.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess.
because of a murderer.
I guess I guess you're right about that. But I honestly, I'm much more interested in the demand for it. Like, why do people care so much?
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing that shows about how our attachment to these devices is insane.
Mm.
That I put out a video like that, and it's like, I don't know, 2 million views, or it's on Forbes. It was everywhere. Like, it was posted all over. I had the Google notifications turned on for whenever I was getting a news notification every time my name was being used, and it was just going off. Like, it was on all these different sites that were embedding my video, and they're doing it because investors want to make adjustments to their plans preemptively
based on the reviews.
based on what
Sure.
No, I mean not the review. I mean like the leak. So
Right.
they see the iPad Air chassis before it actually comes out, and they go, are people going to like that chassis? Are people going to buy that chassis?
Do you review when there's a leak? Like, do
Yeah.
you give opinions on the leak?
Yeah,
Like,
I compare.
sure, right?
I compare it to the old one like I do physical dimensions. I pulled a measuring tape out.
Have you ever known of anyone that's given some sort of a review and it's actually changed the final product because they listened to what people were saying about a leaked product and went, wait, hit the brakes.
Ooh,
This could be a disaster.
That's a good question. Probably like on Kickstarter or something like that, but not on a big. I don't feel like they would ever let you know. You know what I mean? But I think brands are definitely paying attention to the chatter. They need to, and the market research is going deep now. You know, they invest way too much money in creating these things to take a risk that everyone's going to hate it. So,
and a guy like you is a direct line to that because
I'm tapped into the pipeline.
You're doing this all day long.
Access to the vein. Yeah. This is my thing.
When I used to do cameras, I used to when those little baby video cameras used to became really popular, whatever those were called. Remember, you used to have a couple of them,
the HD ones with the SD cards.
Yeah. And Kodak had one, and I did a really bad review on one of Kodak's little ones when it first came out.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was because of during low lighting and stuff like that. It had a bunch of fucked up problems. Kodak contacted me, and they actually did a firmware upgrade based on just
there you go.
One review.
There's an example.
Yeah,
that's tremendous.
Yeah.
That's a super valuable resource for a company because
definitely
they're not going to get that kind of objectivity from the people that work there. And there's also a hierarchy with managers and people that work under the managers, and maybe the manager's a dick and he doesn't want to listen to Mike's advice. And Mike is kind of soft spoken, but he's got really good ideas. There's a lot of that social shit that goes on in a giant corporation like that.
Something that doesn't get talked about is the cultural aspect. Like the vast majority of this stuff comes from halfway across the world, right? We all know that. I don't know what I can say on this, but
are you withholding information?
No, I'm not withholding information. I'm just
he doesn't want to burn bridges.
There's a I'm not going to name.
Try a way to.
I'm not going to name any brands.
Okay,
but some
it rhymes with Amsyoung.
Some are completely out of touch with the way life works over here.
Okay, in America. I see. That makes sense.
And it shines through in certain decision making when it comes not only to products, but to the way they market those products, to the way they communicate with press, or the way they communicate with their own people. It's I've been in some circumstances where it's been very foreign.
That makes a tremendous amount of sense, and seems like, of course, it seems obvious.
Yeah,
right?
but everyone wants to pretend that user experience in Asia is the same thing that we're going to want here.
Right.
You know? Like, how many... Okay, I'm going to go on a bit of an Android rant
Don't
right now.
do it.
This is a Nexus 5, okay?
Beautiful phone.
This is a Google product. This is the unadulterated Android experience the way Google intended.
I don't know if they would have intended that wallpaper.
No, they probably didn't. Actually, that's a good friend of mine. Please don't say anything about it.
I don't even know what it is. I'm just fucking around.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. It wouldn't be stock. That's not a stock wallpaper.
Right.
But so they have the best developers in the world. If you're a badass developer, where are you going to work? Apple, Google, Amazon. I mean, whatever. Somewhere in Silicon Valley, somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, you'll be all set. If you're the best developer in the world, you going to Asia? Is that your number one priority? Is that where you're going to go?
If you like Asian chicks and heroin.
Are you going to Japan in September?
So
I'll let you know.
But anyway, here's the problem. The R&D that goes into that software, extensive. So much money, so many smart people, right? What does Samsung do? 3 weeks, they overhaul the motherfucker. Come on! How are you going to take something that took that long to develop and you're going to skin it and you're going to change everything about it?
In 3 weeks?
Well, no, I'm exaggerating.
Oh.
If you pick up a Samsung device, it's not the same as an LG device. It's not the same as a Motorola device. It's not the same. There's this fragmentation, and that's
so it's because
in the tech space, it's called the F word. By the way, fragmentation.
F word. They call it the F word.
It's a big deal
because they decide to add their own user interface. Their
bullshit.
Yeah, Samsung has their own thing that they do. What is it called? What's the Samsung
their
stuff called?
UI is called TouchWiz.
Yeah. What? You're not touching my dick. Okay, that's what I hear.
Now,
TouchWiz.
You have
I'm
the
peeing.
original, right? So that's the original operating system and everything. Is it night and day difference? Because I've always used, I guess, a skin version. I've always used Samsung.
Fuck them all. Fuck all that shit.
This guy's hardcore, dude. He's super hardcore. He's like Antonopoulos. Remember Antonopoulos said that? He breaks everything down and roots it.
Yeah, here's the thing. It's like I just really believe in the intelligence level of the original developers. And I can't imagine how they sleep at night knowing that most people's interpretation of Android is a Galaxy device.
I need to get one of these next ASAP.
Like, they're like artists, man. They're sitting there. This is their art form. And they're sitting there putting all of this energy into simple decisions like the shape of an icon. You know what I mean? Serious design. And then someone goes, we'll build a better icon. It'll be a happy face. No big deal. It doesn't make any sense. It would be like you get some beautiful painting and you send it halfway across the world to Asia and tell them, do what you want with it.
Right.
We never do that with any other kind of art.
That's interesting. You're accepting it as an art form. I guess you're right. It's created. Someone creates it.
Someone draws the whole thing up, man.
Yeah.
The guy behind this is Matthias Duarte. He was at Google I/O. He's their lead designer on the and it's about to get overhauled as well. The new version is called L, and it's even more beautiful in my opinion than what this 4.4.4 that I'm working on right now.
Wow.
But here's another problem. I'm using 4.4.4. That's the latest Android OS.
What's that called? It's always Candy.
KitKat.
Right?
Yeah.
KitKat.
This version, that specific iteration of this software you will not find it on any Galaxy device right now, right? The updates, and this is a big discussion because we're going to involve the carriers now. The carriers are really to blame for enabling this process. So Android in the beginning, Android has had to make so many sacrifices to catch up, and one of those sacrifices is letting carriers dictate how they're going to implement these devices. Verizon, AT&T, etc. So you buy a phone from Verizon, there's a bunch of bullshit from Verizon.
You boot it up and you see a Verizon logo, which is disgusting.
Dude, in some cases, they put the logo right on the outside of the phone. There was a Galaxy, I think the S4, had Verizon on the button on the front. What? Tiny little button strapped with Verizon. So those are changes that the carriers want to make because they're hoping to build their own ecosystems and capitalize more. The carriers they're not in an innovative business. They're in an accounting business of finding a way to just juice you for a few more pennies. You could do a little Ting spot right now if you
Except
want.
for Ting, Joe, in the middle of the podcast.
That's it.
Tings
That's it.
They're clever.
Yeah.
Now, when an economy moves in that direction where their objective is just to pinch more pennies, what happens to innovation? Takes a fucking nosedive.
A fucking nosedive. It does.
And because all of a sudden now, the bottom line is affected by some nerd with a report in front of them saying, just get rid of that, whatever. It's made through subtraction, not addition.
That's fascinating. That's a really interesting way to look at it. I really like the idea that it's a piece of art. I love that you're looking at it that way because you're absolutely correct. I think of it as technology, but it is something that's created, and anything created is art, and it's certainly beautiful.
Yep.
I love scrolling through. I love how Android, like my Galaxy Note 3, has like a different thing when I'm flipping through the pages.
Right.
I love
like an animation or something.
I love the fucking pen. I love that they figured out how to do that. And
you're using the pen on a regular basis?
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
Well, I'm a comic, so I write notes.
I knew that part.
I'm a big. I think there's something about physically writing things that is a different impact. So, and then I upload them to Evernote.
Right.
So I have the actual note itself on my iPhone as well.
Definitely.
So
cool.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Evernote is fucking fantastic.
Yep.
But what I really love about it is that you take like a note like this here.
Yeah.
This is a note that I wrote on the note.
Wow, decent writing, man.
Not bad, right?
See,
you could put it here, and it comes out like
that's good, man.
Yellow paper.
Cool.
It's really big. Can you see that? You're not gonna be able to see it because of the phone itself, the glare. But handwritten notes come off. It's so responsive. The pen is so responsive.
No, it is definitely. I agree.
Any handwritten note that you make looks really like Alex Ohanian did. He made a little Reddit alien on the note. Right. We put it up. I mean, you could do things with it.
There's no doubt that the
signatures.
The pen is has far more precision than your fingertip. No doubt about it. So there's all kinds of industries that are affected by that. Comedy is one, as you said, but also like artists, for example, are doing insane illustrations on the note.
Yeah.
Like top quality stuff that they've drawn on there. It's the apps that exist, like different sketching apps.
What do you got there? Is it something for an app?
It's a sketching app.
Yeah, this is actually an art app, and it's great because it's called Colorbox HD, and it has like every single pen you could possibly imagine.
Yeah,
and it uses the
it's like a mini Photoshop.
So if you have a favorite pen that you actually like, it has the same character. Yeah.
So now when you draw with a pen, a stylus, what kind of stylus do you use? Do you have a specific one that you use?
No, I mean I just got this app recently because I've been trying to draw more on my iPad. I've been trying to use my iPad more. Actually, I have 2 iPads, and I've been trying to just carry this around instead of a laptop lately. Surface, Microsoft's version of it, just released this whole thing where you could trade in your old MacBook Air and get like $650 credit towards their new Surface, which is like their version of like this mixed with a laptop or a MacBook Air. So I've been trying to see if I could just use this more. Tony Hinchcliffe doesn't even have a computer. Everything that he uses is just on an iPad.
That's ridiculous.
I know. That is what I'm trying to see if I can get to, though. Because I love this thing. This is one of my favorite things with tech.
I just bought, it hasn't been delivered yet, but I'm looking forward to it. I bought a mechanical keyboard.
Yeah.
I want to hear.
You just got some major street cred in the tech world for doing that. Yes, you did.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
I missed that. There's something
to that. Of course you do. Yeah.
Yeah,
it comes back to user experience in general.
Well, I think about, user experience is very critical. I think about things that I enjoy. I drive a manual transmission most of the time. I like that.
Right.
I like shifting the gears. Like, I'm a part of it. It's an enjoyable experience. It's tactile.
Yep.
You feel the snicks of the gear. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it if I was stuck in traffic all the time.
Right.
But if I'm not stuck in traffic, I know I'm not going to be. I'll drive that car.
Right.
And I think there's something to that tactile experience.
For sure. Like there's a lot of pushback happening now. Digital interfaces, people miss like mechanical keyboards are a perfect example.
It's also an issue with cars. Electronic steering. Electric steering is the new thing in sports cars.
Really?
And what people don't like about there's actually a blowback, and more people are buying older sports cars that have no steering. Power steering.
Right.
Like the old Porsches.
Wow.
The old Porsches were super light cars,
right.
and they had manual steering. So you turn the wheel, you felt everything.
Yeah,
You're connected to those front wheels like a go-kart.
Right.
And the new ones are so totally electric, so it's sort of like a video game. There's no difference. Like if you have a hard turn or if you have an easy turn, there's no difference in the amount of effort that you have. It's just going.
Yeah,
where
same
you
as
tell
the
it to
transmissions. I drove a GTR, which has the electronic transmission that's can shift more efficiently than any human.
Yeah.
But it's like, what is that really about? What are we really connected to? Like, do we really need to go that split second faster, or do we get more out of it, like you said, through feeling more of it? It's hard to really pinpoint.
If you have an old school muscle car and it's an automatic, you're missing out on half the fun of having an old school muscle car.
Right.
Like shifting those gears yourself. I had an automatic Barracuda, and I hated it. I hated the fact that it was automatic. It used to drive me crazy. But that's how when they were building it, they were saying there's no way to put this engine with a manual transmission. They just knuckleheads.
Right.
But I talked to a guy. I was going to have it fixed up before I wound up just selling it and getting rid of it because it was just a constant
there was a
nightmare.
negative connotation probably associated.
Well, not because of the automatic transmission.
Oh.
It was because of the bill. I had it built for a television show, and there was all this behind-the-scenes drama. Not from the people that made the show, but the builders of the car itself.
Oh.
There's a lot of nightmare shit that I don't want to get into.
Right.
The big nightmare shit was that I don't trust those things. I got it home, and as I was pulling into my driveway, the suspension detached from the frame.
This, yes.
I was just on the highway 10 minutes ago going 65, 70 miles an hour in that fucking death trap,
freaky, man.
which would have been horrendous.
Yeah.
If that blew out, I would have crashed into other people.
I know.
Who knows? And what if I was responsible for someone else being injured or killed? I would have felt horrible just to drive this cool thing.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I sometimes get that feeling about fast cars in general. Like I feel like
great responsibility.
I feel like you drive that car and you get in an accident and it's completely not your fault, and everyone goes, look at the dickhead in the fast car. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
And they should.
I guess.
They should.
Because it does say something about I guess it says something about your personality.
Well,
the auto insurers would say it does.
It also says something about your ability to control something. And the problem with buying a fast car is that they don't have any gauge whatsoever on your ability to control it.
No.
Say like Tanner Faust, who's a race car driver, the guy on Top Gear.
I know him, yep.
If that guy walks into a Corvette dealership and buys a Corvette,
Right.
you can be rest assured he knows how to handle that car.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that get in those things, they hit the gas, they just spin into
Right.
trees and slam into...
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I feel like it is kind of bizarre that they let people walk out of the shop with 500 horsepower.
How about more? How about in a shitty chassis? Like
Yeah.
these new Shelby Mustangs. I fucking love the Shelby Mustangs.
Right.
And they're not that good. They're like, they have a solid rear axle. They're I mean, it's a massive piece of engineering to control that solid rear axle.
Right.
But you could get one for like $50,000 and it has 660
Right.
fucking horsepower.
Right.
That's insane.
It is.
And it's so fun to drive.
Right.
They're one of the most fun American cars ever created. The new Shelby Mustangs. They're not the best handling car.
Of
They're
course,
not,
yeah.
They don't brake the best.
Of course.
The brakes are mushy. The
Yeah.
suspension's dog shit.
Right.
If you get a convertible, you might as well be driving around in a fucking wet lasagna noodle.
Yeah.
I mean, they're bouncing. But the tactile feel that you get from those is so fun.
Right.
The boom, the engine, the whine of the fucking, you hear
Right.
the supercharger whine. I mean,
I think sometimes efficiency is boring.
fuck yeah, Priuses suck.
Yeah.
Those are boring as shit.
Not just fuel efficiency, but efficiency in general. Like, think about coffee, for example. You could find some crazy way to precision engineer some coffee bean and get it into a form factor that could ship to you already made. But you talk to any coffee connoisseur, and it's like they got to get the beans, they got to roast the beans, they got to put them in the grinder. You know, part of the experience is not just the consumption of it, but everything leading up to it.
Yeah.
Actually, I heard you talking about addiction last night, and I was thinking, and you were talking about ritual on the podcast last night.
Yes.
And I really, it seems to me that, at least in my business, the ritual is the thing.
Yes.
The wanting is way better than the having.
It's a lot of it.
I think it's better than the having. Because
I don't know about all that.
Because you want to know what happens when you have something, is you immediately start to think about whether or not you should still have it. You know, like it has to enter your mind at some point.
I think that's an attitude, though. I think that's a matter of focus, because there are things that I have
That you'll never get rid of.
never feel like that.
That you'll never get rid of?
No. My car, I mean, I might one day sell it.
You
if I
will
find something
one day
cooler,
sell it, I
but
bet.
I love it. I've had it
Yeah.
for a couple of years.
I'm not saying you can't love products. I'm just saying it's like a relationship. It just changes. When
especially
you
with-
see a really hot girl and you start to hit it off or whatever, that's a certain type of magic that can't ever happen again.
That's true. Yeah, you can't ever recreate that. And some people go their whole lives trying to get new
back
magic.
to that first high.
I have a friend who did that for the longest time. He eventually got married and had a kid, but one of the things he said, he goes, I just want a lot of beginnings.
There you go.
He goes, I don't like relationships, man. He goes,
And-
in the beginning, everybody's trying so hard.
That's right.
Everybody's so excited. Everybody's so friendly.
Yep.
And he goes, and then all of a sudden, bitches are yelling at you, showing up at your house.
Overnight.
He goes, I just want
Yeah.
a bunch of beginnings where people like me.
But not to make this, not to pull this back and make it super nerdy, but it's the same thing here.
Right.
My channel is called Unbox Therapy for a reason. That there is some kind of intangible thing that happens when you get some new thing.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something to it, but there's also what people would say it's material fetishism, that you're
definitely.
constantly obsessing
Definitely.
about materials. Maybe
Yep.
you should go for a fucking hike. Maybe you should go out and look at the birds and see the meadows.
Except that the eventual future is everybody lying down on a couch with a VR headset, interacting with a world that isn't real.
I think that's possible. I think it's probably inevitable.
Yep.
I mean, scientists believe that it may be going on right now.
Yep.
That might be the world we actually
That's
live
right.
in. It's just so complex and so good.
Totally could be. I wanted to talk about this cardboard over here.
What is it?
Getting back to VR. There's this. I could tell you weren't excited when I first picked it up because it's
Why
a
could
piece
you
of
tell?
damn
Well, I
cardboard.
assume there's something inside of it. No. There's nothing inside of it?
No.
For real?
Oh, let's play this game. Guess what it is, Joe
It's a
Rogan?
piece, let me hold it.
Okay, but you can't open it though.
Okay. It stays this way.
Yeah, you know nothing of this. I assume.
No, absolutely nothing.
Okay.
To me, I would assume there's like a memory card in here or a screen or something that you're protecting.
Okay, that this is the shipping material.
That's what I would assume.
Yeah. This is the first thing they gave us at I.O. before they gave us any watches, and this is the world's cheapest VR headset right here.
Okay.
There you go. That's what it is.
Huh. So it opens up.
It opens up. There's lenses inside of it. You build it, and there's a place that the phone sits. And this is NFC enabled.
Your phone sits on it.
So your phone mounts inside of here, and the NFC on the back of the phone will launch an application, and that application on the screen then is going to display through the lenses an interactivity similar to Oculus Rift, but right here with a piece of cardboard for $5.
See, that's what happens, man. Someone gets cocky and they spend billions of dollars
$2 billion.
developing Oculus Rift, and someone comes along and says, not only fuck you, but fuck you with cardboard.
Well, here's Google did say fuck you with cardboard, but the real reason for that is because VR it's going to be tough to sell in the long run. It's too expensive, it's too elaborate, and so developers won't get on board. So this is a development material, a development kit, so that the imaginations of developers everywhere, they can check out what their app might be like if they did a virtual reality version of it.
So for folks who are listening to this, which is most people download this and listen to it.
Right.
What we're looking at is like, say if you ever order a book on Amazon.com and it comes in a little box. It's very similar to that. Or maybe back when you used to buy CDs.
Yep.
You'd buy a CD on Amazon that would get delivered to you. Maybe you can still do that. They would look like that. It's a small, maybe like 10 by 8, right? 10 by 8, probably.
Yeah, something like that.
Just looks like a piece of cardboard. Yep. Have you done this yet?
Nope.
Can we do it now?
I don't know how smooth it's going to be.
Well, just no. We'll talk about other shit while you do it, but let's just check it out. Let's see how long it takes.
Let's do it.
Because I am completely fascinated, and I'm sure we can think of things to talk about while it's happening.
Cardboard. It's g.co/cardboard, I believe, is the site if you want to know more about it.
So Lewis is opening this stuff, and there's a bunch of things in there for folks who are listening.
This magnet as well controls your interactivity with the device. So you click by touching this magnet.
Whoa. Okay, so what he's got here is he's unfolded the Amazon box. It looks like an Amazon box.
I need scissors, guys.
Oh, do we have scissors, Jamie?
Oh, no, I don't. This is perforated.
Of course it is.
It does show scissors, but I don't think I need to.
Yeah, let's get the scissors. Let's not fuck this up.
All right,
this is the first time. I'm sure we have scissors here. That's how we cut our butter.
So this is cut our butter. Oh, perfect.
So he's taking this apart right now.
This is an exclusive, by the way.
Is it?
No, I don't think so.
No? Okay. Let's pretend it is.
Some other developers
lie to me, bro.
Probably did it.
Don't you know how this works?
But it's a mass media exclusive right now.
So he's cutting this box open, and inside the box, or inside this folded up piece of cardboard, there's lenses, too, that look like those little Instamatic things. What are those things called? You press that button and those. No, it's sort of like a Polaroid, but you remember those old school things where you'd press it, and there would like be a picture of a dinosaur, and you'd look at it. Ooh, Viewmaster, yeah, very much like Viewmaster lenses. But I'm assuming they're a high quality lens. It's just embedded in this plastic because they look pretty slick. Does it look good?
I'm not supposed to be looking that distance.
Oh, yeah. Well, put this all together. Let's not play a game. He's going through the full
looking,
user experience.
No, I'm not. I'm a little bit perplexed right now. To insert, I think you should have to build this. There you go. Joe Rogan builds Google Cardboard.
It's a good idea. Is there any directions?
The directions are only what's on there and a finished product picture.
To assemble, insert the numbered tabs into the corresponding slots. Okay, 4, 4, 3, 6, 2. Oh, that's all. So everything's numbered. That's interesting how they did it.
Oh, you know what? In the meantime, I'm going to hop on the Wi-Fi with this device, so it's ready to go.
Yeah, this is not good for a podcast.
No, not at all.
I'm not going to talk.
I told you. We'll try it out after.
Yeah, we'll try it out after, and we'll post a quick video here.
Yeah, we could do that. We could do a quick video experimentation. But the role here is not only to say fuck you to Facebook for spending $2 billion, but to essentially say that VR is not going to get anywhere in its current state, and to give a sort of way to prototype applications without necessarily investing in a VR headset. That's the objective of this.
However, I mean, the games on the iPhone didn't kill PlayStation 1 or 4 or whatever the fuck, or Xbox One.
They didn't kill it, but the rumor is these are the last of the consoles.
Really?
Yep. The last, for example, the 360 and the PlayStation 3 lasted for a decade.
Yeah, but the experience of, like, I just got an Xbox One recently.
You playing that UFC game?
No, haven't played it yet.
You see the
I think you and I should do one versus one It'll get a shit ton of views.
Yeah, that would be fun. I would
Yeah.
definitely do that.
Yeah.
I narrated it, though. It'd be weird playing with my own voice.
Oh,
saying I'm
right.
losing.
That's true. You
Yeah.
did narrate it.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. No,
That
that would
shit
be
took forever.
That'd be extra cool.
That shit took forever.
Yeah,
I had to narrate all the specific movements, specific combinations, specific
Dude,
ways
it
guys
came
got
out
knocked
well,
down.
though.
Oh, they know what they're doing, man.
Because
those guys are bad
in
motherfuckers.
the old days, you boot up like a basketball game or something, and it's all the cadence is off. You know, and you can tell
Right.
where the different phrases are inserted.
Yeah.
Yours is smooth, man.
EA's, they're bad motherfuckers.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah. So
And
did you go up to Vancouver for that?
No, we did it all in Calabasas, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I know they have a big studio in Vancouver.
Yeah, they have studios. They rent studio space here, too.
Oh, okay.
Warning, the following glitches are very rarely occur in the game. Actually kicks all sorts of ass. Also, this isn't actually Rogan and Goldberg silly. Oh, this is Tommy Two-Tone. Or Tommy Toehold,
He does
rather.
a good Joe Rogan
Let me hear
voice.
it.
All right.
Put the volume
Is
on.
this an impersonation?
Yeah.
It's using glitches from the game.
This is really happening.
It's pretty good.
Alexander Gustafsson, John Jones, and it is all over.
Goldie and
Now,
Joe commentate
what
UFC
technique
glitches.
is Dos Santos utilizing here? Mike, he's pretending to be a turtle that can't flip over. He's trying to confuse Frank Mir.
Oh, that was you?
No, it's an impression of me.
Yeah. No, I know.
Takedown using only his feet, and he got it.
There's some great glitches.
This is
Look at
interesting.
this
Joe
leg.
is just putting the mummy guard.
The
Now
mummy
he's trying
guard.
to lure Alex in by casting a spell. He's
You know
showing
EA is not
incredible
happy about this
flexibility
right
in his
now.
Oh, you know what?
Joe.
I think they might have to
No,
like this glitch
dude.
game.
No, dude. This
This
guy's
such a
gonna get
gifted
fucked up for
athlete.
this.
Oh my God! Look how bad the glitch is.
Joe, one of the benefits of completely freezing your body during a fight with yourself. Well, one of the advantages is that your opponent is completely confused. He's unsure if you're a real person anymore.
Look how good that
or just some
Cormier
sort of
body
object
moves.
in the cage. And it is great for takedowns. As you can see, Cormier has landed 2 now. And the Iceman is back on his feet. This crowd is going crazy, Joe. Ow! Referee Eve Levine with the psychic knockout. Joe with the capoeira kick, and Gustafsson.
Oh, they got connected with each other.
Like a total disregard for the laws of physics.
This is funny.
Aldo with the big 1080 spin takedown. He's been landing those effectively all night, Joe. Gustafsson is so elusive, Joe.
What? The guy just flew through the air.
Getting into the rematch, the Gustafsson
What are they doing to make a guy do that? I want to know what they do.
They're probably, yeah,
Didn't
dude.
want to admit it.
I mean, it's a glitch, obviously, but like, what is the combination that makes the character behave like this? Gustafsson, for folks just listening to this, he's flying through the air, like spinning around and flipping, and then landing on his head and flipping around.
Carmouche with a nice 70-foot sliding takedown. Oh, she's out, Joe. She's out, and Liz Carmouche doesn't realize it.
Carmouche doesn't know that Ronda Rousey's out,
Those are nasty
so she's
shots.
punching at the
Ronda
air
taking a moment
on the
to catch her
ground.
breath. Eve Levine looking intensely at the action. Carmouche is going to tire herself out, Mike. Ronda needs to be careful not to hit her in the back of the head. Right into
Whoa.
the butt back mount. And Gustafsson
butt
really
back
has
mount.
no answer for this mummy guard.
Yeah, people listening to this, you're not going to get anything out of this. So just go to EA,
Watch out.
UFC glitches. Tommy Toehold, who's a really funny guy. He does a lot of these videos. He's got a whole series of them. Really funny stuff on most of it on UFC and MMA.
Watch how it ends. I think it ends really
Eve
good.
Levine with the big win again,
Oh,
Joe.
yeah, nothing happens. All right.
It's hilarious.
It's funny.
So those glitches, not good. Yeah,
No.
people are probably very upset.
They're upset that you just showed that, actually.
Tough shit.
Because
It's not going to keep people from buying it.
I think it's just a patch of wave to fix that. I think that's just funny enough to people go, wow, there's a new UFC game out? Oh, you know what I mean?
Right, but that's the reason I'm like that I'm not fully on board with it is only because it kind of fucks up the relationship between independent content creators and game developers. Because what they do is and they just,
It's reality.
they're gonna take a hard line stance, and then it happened with Nintendo. They fucked up. There were guys making a career posting videos about Nintendo shit.
Yeah.
Gone, complete career over.
Well, that's bad on Nintendo. Really,
Yeah, and Nintendo got shit for it, but
They
it doesn't
should.
change. It doesn't change the reality.
You know why, Joe? Because they can attach all that money, all that advertising, YouTube money to that's extra income now for Nintendo to be able to
Yeah.
put Nintendo videos up now because
Yeah.
Nintendo owns the rights to it, so they get money off all these.
There's a real
Yeah, that
discussion
makes- that makes sense.
whose intellectual property that is that we just watched.
Right.
Did we watch something from EA or did we watch something from Tommy Toehold. And he doesn't have a product without them.
Right. He doesn't have a product without them in this instance. So they might put a block on that particular video.
Oh,
I doubt they would. This is why I doubt they would, is because the UFC sanctions his show. They like his show.
Cool.
So I'm sure he has some sort of an arrangement with them.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be an issue.
I think, for the record, I think it's funny as hell, and I would totally watch it. All I was trying to say is that I have a lot of friends in the gaming side of YouTube, and it's a fucking disaster.
Yeah. How does that work? Like when guys are doing comments, when they're commentating on a match, who owns that? Like StarCraft or StarCraft, rather?
Yeah,
those are big things, right?
True, yeah.
Podcasts and...
Most of the super competitive gaming, the developers are on board with it, because that's the big part of
it's the community,
their business model.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, they're also involved in the events themselves and the setup and whatnot. So they have more control than an independent guy in his bedroom or whatever, his office, chopping together something like that.
Right.
You know? But there are enormous YouTubers, like 10 million subscribers, 20 million subscribers, whatever, that their whole model is playing games, other people's intellectual property. And there is no clear guideline yet on what's considered fair use and what isn't, especially when you're commercializing the content.
Well, the guys who create the video games, though, would be foolish to try to stop any sort of an interactive community like that.
That's what we all think. But again, you've got some gray-haired dudes sitting in an office that they actually got the job after Blockbuster went under.
These motherfuckers.
and you know, that's their way of that's the way they behave, and that's not going to change overnight.
Listen, this is how Blockbuster went down. I warned them. Okay, I was on the board. I told them you got to be careful because these DVDs are on the way. DVDs and laser discs are going to ruin our market.
It's amazing.
Well, pretty much everything within the next couple of years. I mean, I have a CD slot a USB CD slot that I attach to this so I can watch CDs or DVDs on.
Right.
Never used it once.
Yeah.
Never touched it.
Nope.
And it made me realize, like, remember when the floppy disk went away and everybody fucking freaked out? Like, Apple said, no more floppies. Everybody went, no, you can't fucking...
Well, that's the weird thing about technology. We were talking earlier about how these devices are becoming almost a status symbol. Having old shit is people are going to sneer at you. Mm-hmm. You rock an old computer or an old disk drive, hand somebody a CD, see what they do. They get upset.
Go over some chick's house, she's got some old ass computer. You're going to be like, this bitch is a brokester. Crazy ass old ass computer.
There's a weird
compact.
There's a weird there's like a tech prejudice.
Why don't you have an R key?
Yeah.
You don't have an R key?
R key.
You just press that button. You know where the R key used to be? Put a piece of tape over that thing. Fold some tape up. Draw the letter R on it, and stick it over that little button.
Do you save old tech? Like I just found my old Dash the other day. I was one that had the first Dash.
I have a Dash.
Yeah.
That's not. There's a certain age at which I think it becomes cool again, kind of like cars. Like I recently showed my 4-year-old the original Sega Genesis, and we were playing Streets of Rage. He fucking dominated. Which is
at 4. That's
because
hilarious.
if you gave me that game at 4,
right,
I'd be crying. You know, so I like to sort of go back in those origin stories in my childhood and stuff like that. I did a unboxing video of the original NES, Nintendo, 1985. Found like one in mint condition in the box. People in the comments were telling me, like, listen, this brought tears to my eyes.
Did you smell it
I
first?
swear to God. But it's not because of the product, right? It's because of the promise. If you remember being a kid and that NES being under that Christmas tree, at that moment, even if your dad was a fuck up, you know, your mom was a bitch, that console...
Strong words.
That console, for a moment, guaranteed a certain number of hours together because people used to game together. Like for me and my brother, that's what it was. The thing is under the tree. You look at one another. You're like, I know what this means. It's not about the console, and this is a huge problem with gaming now. Is that it's all online. Yet the most beautiful shit happens in real life. You want to fuck up the guy next to you, not some dude in who knows where.
Right. That's why LAN parties are so fun.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you high five each other after you fucking shoot each other.
We used to do it
death.
in my parents' house, main floor upstairs. And then immediately after the multiplayer match would be over, the losing team would run up to where the winning team was and immediately start fighting, you know, whatever, goofing around, like get pissed, yell at one another, go back, do another round, etc.
Yeah, those are fun, man.
Yeah.
LAN parties are fun. That's so true, too, about so many games taking place online now. So much of the experience is people not interacting with other people online. That's a very different experience than being in a room. Like if we set up computers on this beautiful big ass table.
Very
This would be a
beautiful.
great place for like a
This would
LAN
be a sick
party.
place.
This would be the coolest LAN party ever.
Yep.
down.
Definitely.
Oh,
Or Mario Kart.
We should totally have a fucking Quake party here.
I'm down. Just
I haven't played Quake in forever. I bet I suck at it.
you
now.
would beat
Quake.
you would beat
That
my
should have
ass. I was
fun.
never that good. So
Well, I was never good, but I was good compared to regular people. But I got.
listen to this
trumped.
elitist talk over there.
It's true.
Good compared to regular people.
Compared to regular people,
Yeah.
I'll fuck you up.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
compared to like those real Quake players,
Right.
like those guys always killed me.
Yeah. Well, see, this is about like the brands trying to own the entire experience. They
Right.
want to own not just your money when you buy the game, but they want to own everything you do with that game after the fact.
Well, I like that you take this psychological approach, though, because I think it's very interesting. Not just the psychological approach to the reason why people become fanboys about particular brands, but the interactive experience of two people enjoying
Definitely.
a video game together.
Definitely.
Like those fight games, those karate games, you know, like Mortal Kombat style, where you're
definitely.
duking it out with each other. That's half the fun.
Yep.
Is that you're doing it with another person.
We used to, get home from school, and I mean, you knew who was good. The guy
Yeah.
who was good was the guy down the street.
Yep.
You know, and it's like, dude beat the game, didn't die once. You know,
Yep.
there were legends. Legends were made. You know, now it's an anonymous face somewhere else, and everyone's bitching and complaining online. You get on Xbox Live, it's a disaster.
The thing about those games, though, is that they can make the day vanish.
Oh, definitely.
They are magic.
Yep.
You throw those games on your day, and oh, look, you're starving to death, and it's 3 a.m. You're like, what the fuck happened?
That happened.
Fuck yeah, it
What
did.
was it? World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The baby died?
More than one.
Yeah.
More than one.
There was a few of them. It was
Yeah.
Warcraft.
See, those games scare the shit out of me. I won't get invested for that reason.
Dude.
I think what's going to happen though, especially with all the Apple TVs and like Google TVs and stuff, that they're going to start taking over the game market to a point where all our phones are going to be controllers. Like if you have an Apple TV, you can use, we could download a Angry Birds, and we all come over to my house, we all pull out our phones,
That could
put up your
happen.
controller app, and we all are playing.
Well, you
like
can
that.
already send. We have Apple TV. You could already send images and video
Back and
to the
forth, yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
You could watch it up on the
Right.
big screen.
But ultimately,
watch a video.
ultimately, they can't. Unless you're connected, unless you're tapped in, Oculus Rift style, plugged in, they can't monetize what's going on here, the enjoyment we're having. They don't want that. It doesn't do fuck all for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Nintendo Wii, when it first launched, it was all about getting together with friends, right? It didn't even have online gaming, I believe. And you play Wii Sports, and people are goofing around in front of the fucking TV and dancing and doing whatever it was. It got to a point, and then now Nintendo has all kinds of problems, because at first it was like it was immediately appealing, and then it eventually fizzled out. It didn't have that same kind of
Nobody gives a fuck about Wii. I never hear Wii.
exactly.
Put
But
it in your bedroom, it changes everything.
yeah.
What happened?
Oh, you're back to playing it?
I took my Wii U, never used it. I got the new Wii U.
Yeah.
Has the nice big controller.
I
It
have
looks like
that too.
a tablet and
Yeah.
stuff. Never touched it. Decided, fuck it. I'm gonna put it in my bedroom TV, use it for Netflix. Now I can't get enough of it because it's got a huge screen. So you're scrolling through Netflix.
Yeah,
and
it's true.
Surfing the net.
and then
It's
you
the-
watch it on the screen.
Yeah, and you watch it on screen. It's the perfect bedroom
cool.
video game.
So better as a controller than as a video game console.
yeah,
Kind of.
it kind of is, but it's just great because your controller is like it's like having an iPad
Right.
and you're searching for videos on Netflix
Yeah, which is
or stuff
inevitable.
like that. And
Which
then-
is way better
Yeah.
than using your remote control to find the R,
Three-way.
duck, 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 O,
Yeah,
duck,
yeah,
duck,
yeah,
duck,
yeah,
duck,
yeah.
duck, S. You know,
Definitely.
when you're trying to find the name of a movie, that is annoying as fuck. That you can't just go like that
Yep.
and put Apocalypse Now, you know? What do you think about the Microsoft version of that? The Xbox, the Kinect, is that what it's called? Kinetic?
Yeah.
What is it called?
Connect, yeah.
And it's like a thing.
Yep,
It's,
it's a camera.
it sees your body move.
Yeah.
How is that? Not ready for prime time?
Oh, it works.
You don't look excited.
it's great.
There
Yeah.
was a huge controversy with it over them having it all be always on.
Right, so they could watch you fuck on the couch.
So what?
Dum, 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 dum.
Unless you're
we keep-
ashamed.
we
You
seem
big
to keep
fucking
coming back to
sloppy
that
white
topic.
ass.
But-
Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, but
We're immature.
perfect spot. So there was a big controversy at first that nobody wanted it, and they were including it anyways. Then it was going to be always on, and then it was going to be expensive, and all that shit. And the reason I think people don't want it is because, like, an Xbox buyer, you got to look at the core demographic of who's going to get an Xbox the minute it comes out. It's there's a certain sex and a certain age group, etc., that stuff is popular with, and they want to run around shooting people online, essentially, the vast majority, or play sports games or whatever it is. And there's just only so much you can do right now in terms of a motion game. Do I want to do Dance Revolution? Yes. Do I want to do?
Why don't people learn martial arts on those things? Like striking martial arts, you could learn.
That's the Joe Rogan game.
The fitness apps, Joe, are some of the best things about the Kinect because it reads your body, and so like if you're doing like some kind of hard workout that they have available using Xbox Fitness, it will tell you if you're not bending your arms right.
Yeah,
and it'll be like bend your arms, and then it tracks how much calories.
Someone should do that with martial arts techniques.
Yeah,
because
they do.
No, they don't. No. Not somebody with his credibility.
Wow, no.
that would be something that would be really beneficial to someone learning martial arts techniques, because most of the striking techniques, whether it's striking with your hands or with your feet, knees, and elbows, you're learning them in the air before you ever strike things.
Right. So as a beginner, sort of.
Not even just as a beginner. Like, one of the most important things when I teach people kicks, specific kicks, is practicing them in the air. Because if you're constantly relying on hitting something to maintain your balance,
right,
and to maintain the distribution of your weight,
right,
you'll bounce off of things, and you'll rely on those things, and
sure,
you don't penetrate them
right,
enough. And one of the keys to learning how to kick correctly is actually learning how to kick in the air. It's also controlling the dexterity of your legs, because you're not relying on anything to stop the momentum of your shot. You have to tighten up your entire body on the extension of the kick or the punch.
Right.
And so in doing so, you actually strengthen the tendons, and if you're doing it
sure,
correctly, you develop more dexterity when you're throwing kicks. Like the ability, there was always a thing in demonstrations. My instructor when I was a kid, Jae-Hun Kim, would do these. He would do these really impressive demonstrations where they would throw kicks at your face. Like, you would stand there and they would stop them, like right here, like stop. We would all do that in demonstrations.
Right.
Michael O'Malley, who's another one of my instructors, who's this incredible Taekwondo black belt, multiple-time national champion, and he's a big, tall guy, and he would throw these insanely impressive kicks, like half an inch from your face.
Wow.
Just wheel kicks where the toe just he knew, because he threw so many kicks in the air, he knew where objects were, he knew how to stop, so he developed this dexterity. So you could use that, like teaching things correctly. All you would essentially need is an open area where you could extend your legs.
That's what I was just about to say, is that how many people are going to put their foot through their TV on fire?
It's going to happen. There's actually two games that I know of. One's called UFC Trainer, which is a game that just does that. It teaches you different UFC moves. But there's a new Ronda Rousey one also it just does that. It pretty much does that. It uses your Kinect, and it teaches you different moves.
Kick to the balls? Really?
Yeah, the kick
Ready,
to the balls.
kick the balls. Look at this. Ready, go. And kick the balls. This is ridiculous.
Get the fuck out of here.
Can you do a cunt punt? Can you do
Okay,
a pussy
I just
punt
want to
as
identify
well?
something. When you as you had that video up, did anybody notice the physique of the two guys playing?
Oh, yeah.
They look like the average video game player.
Yeah.
Like,
there's your problem.
have you ever seen the Magic the Gathering photo where the dude went to a Magic the Gathering place and took pictures of everybody's ass cracks? Him, like, giving a thumbs
I can
up
only imagine.
in front of all these different ass cracks. Like, and, you know.
So that's what I'm getting at, though, with the Kinect, is it's like, for guys that are really into that thing, you don't have a problem getting out of the house anyway. You know what I mean? It's like...
Right.
It's a,
elitists.
Is there? Yeah,
those goddamn people who move their bodies.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. So I don't know. I don't know if motion gaming will ever be a big thing, or if it is a big thing, it's going to be so far down the road that it's just so immersive, so amazing.
I like it more for Skype. I like it more for like different applications.
Yeah,
Connect,
gaming.
Connect.
Yeah, it's so cool being able to Skype with. Like, I could call you on my Xbox, call Joe Rogan, and video Skype with you, and you're on my projector, and my
that's
screen,
cool.
just like
that's pretty dope.
James Bond.
That's some goddamn
badass.
science fiction shit right there.
Yeah,
that is
that's
pretty
cool.
dope. Do you ever do that on the road? Do you ever bring a laptop on the road and HDMI it to the TV and Skype through the TV? And
No.
I was at the airport the other day and some kid was bringing his console. He had a full console, the whole deal.
Yeah.
Controllers.
Games.
People
It's
do
like
that.
A suitcase.
Yeah.
Open it
People
up
do
into
that.
TV.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not that addicted. I feel like this whole process of doing what I do has actually desensitized me in a way to a lot of this stuff. Like, I think I was in some ways more of a fanatic before than now.
Really?
Does that make any sense?
How come? Are you jaded?
Maybe.
But you don't seem like it.
No, I'm not.
Maybe you're just normalized.
What it is it's like so much for a lot of people. Like I said, these devices are really important to them. They get some new thing that's like a super highlight, etc. Of course, you're going to be psychologically impacted when companies are just sending you fucking everything.
Mm-hmm.
How can it not? It
Right.
affects
So you
the
get
process.
everything for free?
Everything.
Everything. Do you get to keep them?
No, not everything. I shouldn't say everything.
Do you get to keep them?
This I don't.
You have to pay for your laptop. That shows it's really
Apple
good.
won't give you shit
Really?
ever.
Well, why don't you use something that's if you say there's all these Windows computers that are great, it's just the user experience is not as good.
When I don't.
He loves Windows, Joe.
Interesting.
Windows. No, I'm not paid by it.
Read between the lines.
No.
You can think for yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. You hear it as clearly as I do.
Let me put it this way. Pretty much the vast majority of people in my business on YouTube, I know them all personally, use Apple computers.
Yeah, it's kind of universal amongst anybody who has enough money to buy an Apple computer.
The PC people are gonna fucking not like you saying that.
Listen, I'm sorry, folks. I
Yeah.
tried Windows 8. It's dog shit.
Yeah,
Tried Windows 7. Diggity dog shit.
there's a reason why Apple is the company they are and Microsoft is the company they are. That's the way I like to say it. You know?
We used Alienware for the podcast for a while,
Right.
which makes fucking awesome computers.
Yeah.
We used it for the podcast for a while because they were sponsoring us.
Right.
So they gave us some free computers, and I like that they sponsor fighters too. So I wanted to.
They do, right?
Yeah,
They have
quite a few. Quite
guy
a few.
just fought, little guy.
Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, he's
Demetrius
alien.
Johnson.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no, he's not. Sorry. Maybe I
He's
take
not?
that back. He's got a big sponsor though. Oh, Xbox.
Yes, he does
Xbox.
Xbox. Yeah, but a lot of guys have been sponsored. So
Yeah.
we really the computers are incredible. I mean, and they are, as far as like high end laptops, like for gaming, they're fucking
course.
monstrous.
Definitely.
But I didn't like the interface. The Windows notifications kept popping up.
Yeah.
All these the notifications drive me fucking crazy. That shit was ridiculous. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's-
How many
this is a
flashbacks?
this is a clunky operating system. You guys are clunkers.
It's true, man. They
Bill Gates is too busy chasing pussy. That's what he's doing.
yeah,
He's out there doing coke,
he's
banging
Hey, you
chicks,
can't say that.
flying around in his private fucking spacecraft.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
He's tooling around the fucking harbor in his boat.
Microsoft does some good things. Like the Xbox is a success. The Xbox is a success.
Why, if Microsoft is so goddamn popular? Why, if Microsoft is so immersive?
Microsoft's problem is that they're so damn popular.
That's it.
They had to fucking hold on to vintage retro stuff for so long
Because
because
otherwise they would give up a percentage of the market.
God forbid somebody can't type a Word document or open their Excel spreadsheet from 1997.
That's really what held them back.
I think it's a part of it. I mean,
How did it hold them back in the user interface, though?
because when they put out Windows 7, they put this new, was it 7 or 8? No, sorry, Windows 8. New UI, which they didn't really want to give a name, but it was essentially a touch-based UI. That it was a huge overhaul.
Right.
Where now they wanted one platform to work on tablets, laptops, desktops, etc. People freaked out. People were like, how am I going to do this? A, B, C, D, because of the market penetration of the old OS, Windows 7 and XP before that, so on and so forth. The voice of the people that their old customers was louder than that of the new customers they didn't have yet. Much like the automakers in the domestic automakers, I think had the same problem. Your user base gets so big that you're more worried about pissing them off than you are about attracting new people.
Wow. That's weird.
It is
so
weird.
they have to take those things into consideration when they innovate.
They have to pull back all the time.
Oh, man.
But if you think about it, no one ever bought a MacBook because they were worried about Microsoft Word.
It's true.
That's the key. Is you bought a MacBook because it was a tool, just a platform.
And essentially, like when you deal with things like documents, spreadsheets, .doc things, almost anything can open those now. It's not just Microsoft Word.
Exactly,
right?
and that's their problem. Is that what the exclusivity that they had for so long is not really that important anymore.
Doesn't make any sense.
Once upon a time, it was, but now I mean, Google has everything. You can do everything in the cloud. Google Docs does everything. I haven't touched a Microsoft product in a very long time in terms of software.
Which brings me to those Google laptops. How do you feel about those Chromebooks?
Love 'em.
Do you like them?
I love them.
Do you?
I
Well,
think they're great.
Do you fuck with them?
I think it's the perfect finally price point to be able to give somebody like your mom a laptop and have her do exactly what she wants to do with no extra bullshit. Like my mom just probably wants to just surf the net, maybe look at some photos, watch some Netflix, and that's all she's really probably going to do to the max. She's not going to be editing videos, and if she does, I'm sure there's an app that she can actually do it at if she wanted to.
The problem is a lot of people were saying with Chromebooks is why aren't Chromebooks just Android books? Right?
Yeah,
you have
why
this
is it?
enormous ecosystem of apps available on Android.
Is it because of the fact that Chrome is their browser and they're trying to
Chrome is their browser. It's
make the
it's
browser
a leader,
more popular?
Global leader.
Is it?
Yep.
Wow.
By far, too.
Isn't that crazy? They beat out Microsoft Internet
Everybody.
Explorer.
Ask people,
dummies.
ask the average person how they feel about Google in general. You know, and everyone always thinks that they're a positive brand.
Yeah.
Ask them how they feel about Microsoft.
That's so good.
It's a completely different. So maybe there's some public relations issues. I don't know exactly what got fucked up there, but Google appears like this company that's giving us all this great shit and not asking for anything. Because what they're asking for is fucking way deeper than that.
Yeah, they're asking for a connection with you.
They're asking for you.
They're asking for, they're immersing themselves in your world.
And to control your
They
house.
want more than your wallet. Google and Microsoft and Apple and everybody else.
Remember that song, We Want Your Soul?
Yeah.
We want your soul.
Deadmau5.
Your house. Is it?
Oh, wait.
No.
No.
Somebody else. Anyway, cool song. But essentially about that, this immersive connection.
Yep.
Do you think that Microsoft fucked up because they were they were essentially one of the very first portals into this new world.
Yep.
Like using Windows
Right.
and this world of technology. But now this new world has kind of emerged from the people who grew up in the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And they grew up with the accountability of forums, of social media.
Take it as a given.
Yeah,
Yep.
and that this accountability has sort of shaped the way they do business.
Yep.
Which is what I've been saying for a long time is what gives me hope. Because I think the smartest, most innovative, most progressive people in terms of technology and innovation also are very ethical.
Right.
It seems to be a part of the whole package. Like, you don't hear about evil, big, new tech companies. You hear about companies like Google, companies that are trying to do things correctly.
There were a couple of protests at Google I/O.
Of course.
Yeah, they recently acquired Boston Dynamics.
Yeah, they make robots.
They make pretty fucking gnarly robots.
Scary robots, bro.
And so they also some of their technology goes into some of those drones doing that activity out.
Well, how about artificial intelligence as well?
Yeah,
I mean, they also have Kurzweil on board who wants to make people turn into fucking computers.
Yeah. So
They're the overlords, bro.
I don't honestly.
Don't be scared.
I feel like super technologically advanced people are insanely secular. I don't know where their moral compass is. I think they get off on control.
Really?
Yeah.
In what way?
Well, look at Google's ecosystem, for example, or even Apple's.
Okay.
Everywhere you go, the objective of one product is to get you to buy the next one.
Is it, though? Is the objective of their products? Let's talk about Google Maps.
Google is an advertising company.
Right.
And it's funny that I'm talking about them because in a sense they employ the both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we both post shit on YouTube. And
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
AdSense money. And
I have a unique insight as well because a good friend works there.
Yeah.
At a very high level.
And my friends work there too. I'm not trying to say anything negative about it. But
No, I know you're not.
yeah, but the model is such that for us to get the most out of technology, technology has to get the most out of us.
Yeah, but isn't that just a side effect of the immersion?
Sure.
I mean, I don't think it's
That's what I said.
necessarily-
It's not negative or positive.
Right.
It just is.
Yeah. But that's like what we're talking about today about your phone preemptively knowing how far away
Right.
you are from work
Yep.
because you're going to work. And
That's right.
We always look at the negatives, but the positives of that are pretty strong.
But let's go back to the Porsche, or let's go back to the muscle car. That there will always be individuals that liked it better the way it was before.
Yes. Well, the good thing is you can have both, but you can't with phones.
You can't.
Some dudes do. They go back to the flip phones.
Do they?
We sell them on Ting. Ting
Do
sells
they
flip
really?
phones. Yeah, they sell the beautiful fucking shitty button phones.
Well, My guess would be
Text
that
message
that's
with
not
your
an
thumb.
expanding market.
Dana White, he fucking uses one of those all the time. That's how he does all his texting. Whenever
Does
he
he
texts me,
appreciate you telling that to everybody?
yeah, he loves it.
Really?
He jokes about it. I have pictures of him holding up his phone. He can do it at dinner. He could be at dinner, and he's so good with his thumb
T9.
that he can be underneath the table.
Whoa.
And he can be texting you.
That's a very bizarre use case scenario. I like
Yes.
it. I
Well,
really like it.
He's a real wizard with it.
Yeah.
So I've had him show me. He's done it before.
That's
where
cool.
he'll go okay. He'll look at his phone real quick, and then he puts it on because he gets it onto my number, and he puts it under the table, and then all of a sudden my thing, dude, I'm texting you right now, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, this is crazy. And he does it all with his thumb because his thumb is so educated as to where.
the
So he's like
location.
3 presses to get an S.
That's right.
He's doing all that
That's
shit.
T9, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing all that shit.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
That's a skill he doesn't want to give up, you know? He's got to stick with it.
It is a skill.
Yeah.
I was reading this thing the other day about typing and handwriting recognition, and one of the things that they were talking about was shorthand. Is that like people forget that
Like actually writing things?
Yes.
Yes.
Greg's shorthand, I think it's called. I forget. It's like really old technology, like from the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
The implementation of it when they first started using it, and like what things stand for what vowels and what things.
Wow.
And you could write hundreds of words per minute in shorthand, faster than you could ever fucking type.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it never took off.
Well, it did. It just took off for people who didn't have computers.
Oh, right,
And then
right.
once people developed typewriters and computers, like
Right.
there's a new pen that they have that I haven't. I ordered it just to see like what the fuck the technology was like.
I used to have one of those.
Oh, one of
But-
those scribe pens?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is what it does. It doesn't just this is what it does. As you're writing, it takes a photograph of your notes.
Cool.
It also transcribes an audio, like if there's an audio recording capability. So say if you and I were talking and I was doing
Right.
an interview with you,
Right.
and I was asking you about all these different things and I was writing down my notes, it would take photos of the notes and it would take photos of the notes and correspond those notes to the audio recording. So if I said ask him
at that time.
ask him how big his dick is,
Right.
and then like I would click on that and then it would go back to the conversation
note, right.
where you were talking about women always being in pain when you have sex, like
So
yeah,
for-
that's why. You know,
So for like students, a student in
Yes.
a lecture or whatever, that would make a
perfect
lot of sense,
example.
yeah.
Perfect example.
Right.
As long as the lecture was clear enough, you didn't take in too much extraneous noise.
Yeah, they were close to the actual
Yeah.
professor or whatever. Yeah.
But what a great idea! I mean,
cool.
I think I should pull up the name of it just in case. 'Cause I
I've
don't
heard of them before. I've never tried one. I'd like to.
I had the old one where you just like had a little memory card and it just remembered what you wrote.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I just never really.
Does it
This one's-
translate the written word into a digital form?
That's a very good question.
OCD? I think it did back. I never really played with it too much, but I know like a lot of things can do that now.
Yeah.
Like most scanners can do it.
It's
Yeah.
called a Live Scribe
Yeah, that's the one I was
Sky
thinking of.
Wi-Fi pen. It's really interesting, man. I'm really curious to try this thing out. I mean, I wish almost that I was a reporter.
Well, report on it when you get it,
Too
man.
much work. But the idea behind it is quite fascinating, and I love that I had read something about shorthand, and that's where it.
Yeah, these guys have been around for a bit, but this is obviously a new product.
Yes, yeah, shorthand is fucking interesting, man. It's interesting. Yeah, it is Greg shorthand. That's what it's called, named after the inventor, who's named John Robert Gregg. A system of pen stenography that gained popularity in the early 20th century. But it was created a long fucking time ago.
No kidding.
Yeah. But I love the idea that this pen records an audio
Right.
of us having a conversation, and then like I should use it for
Correspondent
podcast
Yeah,
notes.
I think
Really,
so. It'd be
that's
cool.
I think I might actually use it because I have stacks of these things sometimes that I go over, like these notes that I
Whoa.
make during shows.
Shit, I feel like I'm underperforming. I think you took like one note so far today.
Well, it's really usually things that I wanted to talk about that I forgot.
Oh.
Or that I knew I was going to
Oh,
forget
okay.
or didn't want to forget, or an idea that I had while it was happening.
I
But
see.
I don't remember half of these fucking things. Nigerian gay marriage. Okay, what the fuck does that mean? The world's end. Herpes-infected monkey in Florida. Emotional needs dog.
Some juicy stuff there, man.
Yeti, Attenborough, Colorado floods. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what half these fucking things mean. I don't know
Right.
what the point was. But if I had written them down with a corresponding audio recording, I mean, then I would really be able to click on it.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
say,
and
oh,
possibly jar the memory.
yeah, that's when he was talking about this, and I wanted to bring up that.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I love that aspect of new technology, and apparently it works on a special type of paper as well.
Yeah.
I'll find out all about. I won't do an unboxing, but I'll talk about it on this.
I think you should do it. I think you should do it.
I'm not doing it.
I think you should.
I'll tell you about it, and you can do it. That's what you do.
Deal.
I have decided to limit myself as far as how many things I do.
Well,
So I
yeah,
think
you have to.
If I don't, I will just keep doing things.
It's true.
And next thing you know, I'll be a professional racquetball player or something stupid.
Which would be pretty cool.
Take up a lot of time. Yeah, whatever it is that I have, whatever my disease is, I know how to manage it.
That's good.
Don't do too many things. So no unboxing videos.
No. I was just joking around. But you want to know something? Like the origin of unboxing videos is the everyday guy, not in this world.
Yes.
You know, getting something and giving you his reaction. Like in some ways, you become sophisticated to a point where you might not be addressing the things that the everyday guy is looking to have addressed. It's possible.
But essentially, you are the everyday guy.
Yeah, I still am the everyday guy, but
you're immersed in this world of technology in a
Right.
far deeper level. And isn't
Right.
it the everyday guy's opportunity
Well,
to listen to that, watch those, and then
I'm on the
get
Joe
deeper
Joe
himself?
Rogan podcast right now.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
You know, in some ways, yes, you are the everyday guy, but when you start talking to these brands directly, things get fucking weird.
But
Things get weird. It affects you.
yeah, but does it?
It does.
It doesn't affect us. I mean, it does, but it doesn't.
It does, man.
In what way?
It's,
Do you like put on kid gloves for LG?
No.
No?
No,
do you mean?
I'm having a hard way. I'm finding it hard to articulate. But tech news, right? Big tech sites that are out there.
Right.
They would have a report underneath on a review. For example, the product they're reviewing, there's a huge banner ad right above it.
Oh. Yeah, but if they are honest and always committed to being honest, I mean, isn't that goddamn essential for the company themselves? If you put out a dud, I'm sorry, but you put out a fucking dud. What you need to do is get rid of those weak ass engineers and designers
Right.
that put out that dud.
Right.
If you don't, your fucking business is going to go under.
They do that.
There's a tide coming, and
Yep.
if you got a shitty foundation,
Definitely.
your fucking house is going to get into the ocean.
Definitely. But these tech websites have a floor full of salespeople and a floor full of reporters.
Those floor full, whoever's the problem, they need to
I'm
be
not saying anybody's the problem. I'm saying that
thrown into the water.
I'm saying you're not reporting on a murder. You're reporting on something that somebody's spending a lot of money to try and sell. And
But if it's dog shit, it's dog shit.
I agree with that. But that's not so much of an issue anymore because this is getting really iterative. It's not so much an issue anymore of dog shit or not dog shit. We're talking about a sliver.
Right.
In fact, a popular tech website that I won't name for a very long time has been running ties. They do a point analysis on devices, and they've been running ties on the flagship Android phones and the iPhone. A tie on a point, like a decimal point analysis. How the fuck do they tie exactly?
Well, do they tie exactly because they just tie exactly?
No, they do not. Because
So they're doing it because they don't want to piss people off. So you don't believe them.
I won't make that leap. But when I see something like that, I automatically my mind starts telling me that there's something more here than meets the eye.
Isn't there an issue also with putting a quantitative value on a review?
Oh, most definitely.
Like a 5-star
Most definitely.
or a 4.5-star. It's so
They go
arbitrary.
way beyond that. I'm talking like 8.3
Right.
decimal point analysis.
Well, we saw that about the UFC game when you were watching that
That's right.
Connect UFC game.
right.
It was like 6.5
Yep.
in its review.
That's right. Because those exist because people want to be told what to buy. They don't want to do the work. And I'm not hating on the audience. Everybody's busy as fuck. You know, if you can tune in and find out what the best shit is in 5 minutes or less, so be it. Do it.
Yeah.
The problem is that the more you take your guard down and the more that you allow for yourself to be programmed to respond to those things, the less likely that you're going to be able to get any kind of accuracy out of it.
Totally makes sense. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
So-
It certainly opens up the door to that possibility.
And so you've got all these people in the business calling themselves journalists. I've always been against it. I've always been against it. I don't think you can be a product journalist.
Well, you know, that's a very interesting situation when someone's an embedded journalist, right? And
What do you mean by embedded?
Well, you were also in bed with the company that you're
So literally.
analyzing.
Yeah.
Embedded.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an issue with mixed martial arts that,
Yep.
like the UFC has had problems with companies that have been critical of the UFC, and it's damaged the relationship
Yep.
that they have with the reporters. But if you're a real reporter and you have a real opinion, that the problem is when you work for a corporation. When you're an independent like yourself, it is the responsibility of that independent to be completely objective, because that's what everybody turns to you for. And as soon as we can't count on you for that, the whole process of having an independent, it becomes irrelevant. Like, it doesn't matter. You're not an independent. You might say you're an independent,
yes,
but you're an LG fanboy.
There's no doubt that the reason channels like mine have success is because we are third parties, because we are not in any meaningful way attached to anything, and because for the most part we look to be like everybody else. Like, here we are. We started a YouTube channel. Well, anybody could start a YouTube channel. So the context helps to support the messaging in a way. But the problem is that the further along this path you go, the more important you become, and the treatment changes. You know, it's like if you were walking. It's like if you're a really good-looking person.
That's me, bitch.
If you're Joe Rogan and you're walking around, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Let's use Joe Rogan as an example.
So use Brian Redband. Look at him.
Too late. Too late.
Sexy face.
If you're walking around, you get a certain kind of treatment. And that treatment that you get develops character. You can't help it.
It's like hot women.
Hot women
grow. They have a certain amount of worth that they attach to themselves because everywhere they go, they get treated like
you
royalty.
Can't hate them for it. That's the world. We're a product of the environment.
Right.
And I can't pretend that I am not a product of the environment that I have to exist within.
Well, I have very specific rules that when I engage in my environments where I have privileges. I have very specific rules.
Let's hear about it.
Like martial arts is a big one. It's a huge one.
All right.
Because the UFC that I work for is the biggest, greatest mixed martial arts organization ever. However, along the way, during the time that I've been employed with them over the past 12 years, there have been instances where I've actively promoted fighters that were in other organizations.
Really? Because
I like them. Because I think they're really good. And because I have to be honest.
But they didn't pay you anything.
Not a fucking penny.
Right, okay.
Because I have to be honest.
Right.
Like when Fedor Emelianenko was in Pride,
right, I remember.
And he was one of the best heavyweights in the world, I constantly would talk about him on broadcasts.
Yeah.
To the point where some people didn't like it. And some people thought it was not smart, not good for the... But it is smart. You know why it's smart? Because I have to be honest. If there's some guy out there that's murdering motherfuckers in some other organization, and I pretend that the guys we have are the only guys that I want to see fight, then that's ridiculous. That I'm a ridiculous person, and I don't deserve that position.
I completely agree with you.
So in that same vein, isn't it the case with tech reporting? Like, yes, you do get a very privileged position. LG's sending you their sexy new watch, and you're getting all these...
Let me explain. Let me give you an example of this. This phone, the most popular single device on the planet.
You paid for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
But this phone specifically is it's probably the best way to do an analysis of the entire market because of how popular it is and because of how important it is as a piece of news.
iPhone
5S with that little thumbprint thingy.
Well, this one
you can use your dick for as well. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
I bet you did.
And you could spoof it. And you could spoof it with a little bit of wax. But anyway,
spoof it.
Yeah, hack it.
Yeah.
So
how dare you?
You could also chop off somebody's finger and use an 8-volt battery.
Or you could do that. Yeah.
8-volt battery.
I think if you catch a person sleeping and dip their finger in hot wax, that would do the job too.
Yeah, you don't have to chop your fingers off.
You're getting a little violent over there.
If you're on the
Taking
go,
it to a terrible level.
This device,
You're on the go.
this device moves the needle.
Bolt cutters
The
and
reason Apple doesn't spend as much money on marketing as Samsung because they don't have to. This phone comes out, it's on the cover of the New York Times. Hands down. Done.
Right.
Why is that? Well,
it's the best.
There's a couple of reasons though.
It's the best.
It's actually not that easy. When they are about to launch a new device, they give this out to people. They send it to people. Apple does send stuff to people.
Right.
Not to me, but to people.
How come not to you?
Oh, God knows.
Who gets them? It's out those fuckers.
Traditional media people.
Ew, like fucking Business Week, that kind of shit.
Exactly.
Wall Street Journal.
Bingo.
Some fucking crook over there.
You got it.
Lining his pockets with funny money.
Let me tell you how it works. I just noticed that was shot in Toronto, that Jimi Hendrix picture.
Oh, yeah, man.
That's
heroin.
cool.
Got arrested for heroin. That's
cool. Okay, so a very selective group of people gets this device. Then they maintain something beside it called the Blacklist. And the blacklist is people who are never going to get the device for one reason or another. There are many ways to get on that list.
Are you blacklisted?
No, there's no public record of the blacklist.
But it's just a blacklist.
Everyone in
It's
the
implied.
business knows that it exists. I want to do a fucking documentary on this, by the way.
Nobody would watch it except you and your fucking
No,
crazy
no.
friends that review shit.
No. Because Apple is a giant. Like Apple affects our lives in ways,
Right.
everyone's life in a way that I might not be articulating. But, so how does that process work? How do they decide who gets that device? Well, you would assume that the people with the biggest audiences maybe would get it, or maybe just send it to anybody who wants to talk about it. You would think all the exposure would be good.
Right.
Well, why is it that when this device launched, like 15 motherfuckers got it? Worldwide. Like a super limited number, an inner circle of reporters.
Because they can count on those people to only give glowing reviews.
And if those people working for whoever decide that they're going to write something different, guess where they can find their new home?
The blacklist.
The motherfucking blacklist.
Yeah, but that's their fault.
Whose fault?
Their fault.
Really? Because the reason that newspapers' doors are open is because of the fucking device. The coverage sells the ads.
The reason why newspapers' doors is open
Well,
is
they're
because
barely
they
open
haven't
anymore.
fucking burned to the ground yet.
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
great fires of the internet.
But it's not. But truthfully, it's not just the newspapers. There's big tech sites that get them as well.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So there is a group that gets it, but the problem is you have this fear, this inherent fear that if you don't do what the controlling party says to do, you don't get that access to the device anymore. And unfortunately, it's the access to the device that drives the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get this review up a week before anyone else, guess what happens to everybody else's reviews?
What happens?
Well, the value of them dips because the majority of the purchasing decisions are made based on the very initial reviews.
But how much value is there in a high traffic site these days?
Oh,
Ridiculous.
big,
Massive value.
Huge.
fucking huge.
So a site like Ars Technica, is that a high traffic one?
Yeah, that's a big one. The Verge is
Which
big.
is The Verge? The Verge is a big one.
yeah.
So a guy who writes for one of those is going to get access.
Let me put it this. Let me say this like this. If you're a reporter working at The Verge and you get the task of doing the new iPhone, and listen, I am not fucking attacking The Verge. The iPhone is a great phone,
course.
arguably the best phone on the market, and nobody really comes out and says shit that's untrue about it.
Right.
I'm just talking about a potential that exists that steers in a direction way outside the world of journalism that doesn't happen when somebody is murdered or you're investigating a crime or you're whatever it is that investigative journalism is. When the story is something that somebody else controls and dishes to only certain parties, there's behavioral patterns that exist because of that relationship.
Of course. And there's also behavioral patterns that exist in it being financially beneficial for you to support certain companies.
That's what I'm saying.
And this is also the psychological aspect of knowing that you're on this elite list of 15 journalists that are going to receive a new phone.
That's right.
And you'll like look at your, I can't write that. Like, do you think guys write like really scathing reviews and then like park them aside and go, ha, that was just for fun.
Oh,
now
definitely.
let's suck some dick.
Definitely. There's guys that have written stories after the fact, after they've been blacklisted, about
Explaining the reality.
explaining what happened. They're not getting the device anymore. And the problem is, The Verge, for example, has record page views the days these devices launch. Record page views.
I'm sure.
They
So they have to.
They have to have it early. They can't. The door, like, literally, people are employed. On that paycheck, you're seeing a percentage that came from that fucking report, from having access to that product.
But if you get one, like, how much difference would it make if you get one the day it comes out, like when everybody
Which
else
is what
gets
I
them?
do. Which
Yeah.
is wait in line like a fucking idiot.
Look at you, you're
It's
old
fun.
school. You're retro.
I have to, but
You're retro.
for this stuff, the other stuff I get early now, and the other brands do it. They're like, fuck it, yeah, let's get this shit out there. Apple, fuck no, their PR team is like, I'm definitely blacklisted after this podcast. So are you actually?
This podcast?
Yeah.
Why? We're both using Apple products.
Apple's
we both
nice
have
to me.
iPhones. We both have.
It doesn't matter because I've even brought up the notion. The notion is enough. That's
A lot of Apple engineers write me all the time. They
Yeah.
love listening to this show. I think we have like this weird cheat code.
Shut the fuck up.
Dude, yeah, we have a lot
Oh,
of
I just fucked it
Apple
all up
people.
for everybody. Sorry.
Don't worry about it.
I love the shit. I love the shit. I love the stuff they're making, all the rest of it. I'm just talking about people prancing around calling themselves journalists when that's not the reality. It's not an open access story. It's not like some shit went down in some foreign country and you and another guy both have the same opportunity to go there and investigate it. This is way different.
Right. I see what you're saying. I absolutely see what you're saying. And when there's such a large financial benefit to having early access, especially when you look at page views and things along those lines. I mean, when an iPhone comes out, you have essentially like 24 to 48 hours where people are really freaking out.
That's right.
And during that time, that you can accumulate millions and millions of hits, right?
Oh, it's
tricky
absurd.
shit, man. But if everybody fucking did it ethically. Well, you see, with iPhone may be a bad example because it's such a stellar product, and it's really in a uniquely controlled situation, which is what we were talking about earlier, which is their whole argument. Like, look what we've done. Like, the reason why we have this controlled environment is that we put together the hardware, we put together the operating system, we make everything compatible.
Right.
There's nothing that fucks up.
Right. But why are they sending out 15 units if they know their shit is badass?
Because they're tired of your bullshit, bro. Tired of your fucking snarky comments.
Yeah, they are. They're because they deep down they are fucking masterminds at controlling public relations.
Yeah,
masterminds.
Is the climate any different with Tim Cook as opposed to Steve Jobs? Fanboy alert! I know who's the CEO of Apple.
That's pretty good. I don't know that I can accurately answer that. I think people always say that under Steve's influence they had product guidelines, forecasts for way after his death. So I think they're probably still executing on stuff that he had in the pipeline.
What a fucking maniac that guy was.
Definitely.
I know there was an article that some billionaire investor guy dumped all his Apple stock after he read the biography because he said Steve Jobs was an asshole.
Oh, probably. I think
that's why he dumped it. I should pull that up. Because it's a fascinating story.
I think it's pretty hard to manage a company of that stature and not be an asshole.
Also, you got to think about like what is an average person's life. An average person's life is you have a job, but you also have like a fucking family and a lot of other shit you do.
Yep.
Your job is not your whole life.
No.
To Steve Jobs, Apple was his whole fucking life.
And his personal life suffered because of it.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, that's probably had something to do with his health as well.
Probably.
You know? Investor dumps Apple stock.
I need to get one of these Nexus phones now. Now I can't stop thinking that I may never have ever used the actual fucking operating system.
Dude, you can find clips of the even newer one. Right. They're calling it L.
Right. I saw the.
Dude, it looks so beautiful. Just the way they're looking at design and working with dimensions up and down.
Now, is the Nexus? Is that 5?
This is 5, yeah.
Is the Nexus 5 the only one that does that? Or does somebody like Sony or somebody...
Running 4.4.4 now is just... The Nexus will always get updates first. Because it doesn't have to come through the carrier. This is an unlocked device, completely open.
Right.
This guy's name was Julian Robertson. He's number 503 on Forbes' billionaire list. And CNN reported Monday, this is a while ago, this is way back in 2013 in October, right after the book came out, that the guy, this hedge fund investor, sold all of his shares in Apple because he's read the biography of Steve Jobs and decided that Apple, the founder of Apple, was a really awful person. He admits that his stock did very well for him, but he would rather let someone else make the money from now on, said the CNN investment show Closing Bell.
See, even that, I'm all skeptical of that whole thing.
Yeah, me too.
That's crazy, though, that he's saying it caused a crisis of consciousness.
Yeah.
Wow.
A guy that's worth billions saying anything?
It says, I came to the conclusion that it was unlikely that a man as really awful as I think Steve Jobs was could possibly create a great company for the long term. I just don't believe that bad guys do well in the long run. Well, who fucking wrote that book, though? You know,
Walter Isaacson.
How does he? I mean, how well does he know Steve Jobs? I mean, obviously, you can decide to paint us
Sure.
You don't know your best friend all the time. You know him when you're hanging around with him. There's a lot of times when people are alone. Like to paint a portrait of Steve Jobs without a deeply intimate relationship with him. I think you could go all sorts of ways. You could go the way of these 15 companies that get their Apple phones in advance and paint this really glowing, glamorous picture, or you could just paint some picture that you think is going to sell a lot of fucking books, some scathing, awful depiction of. It's like you ever watch a historical depiction, like a historical documentary, like Lincoln. You ever see the show?
No.
the problem is, those people didn't really say that.
Oh, right.
They didn't say that in that author.
Reenacted or
so when you have like a book on Steve Jobs' life, I mean, you have some vague facts that you don't maybe know the entire circumstances, the context of the conversations. It's like you're flavoring things. You have facts, and then you're throwing those facts in and pouring your own colors on them and your own shapes to paint your own picture.
I sort of wonder though, getting back to the asshole comment, like in the movies and stuff as well, he'll come in and fire somebody in front of everyone else.
Oh, wait a minute. This guy's an idiot. Because listen to the rest of his quote. In an interesting twist of logic, Robertson also said that if Steve Jobs was still alive, he'd still be an Apple investor.
Oh. And then he said, after watching the Ashton Kutcher movie, he thought Steve Jobs was sexy and got all his stock back.
You didn't say that. That's not even Steve Jobs. It's Ashton Kutcher. So there's no question in that. He's the man who killed 3.5 men.
What does that tell you about billionaires?
They're all fucking crazy. Well, if I was a billionaire, I wouldn't do any interviews. I'd just be out balling. I'd just be flying around in fucking spaceships and throwing champagne at people. Why would you even do interviews? Like, I sold my Apple stock. Fuck you!
Oh,
I'm 90 and I'm worth
sure
the fucking $100
the only
billion.
objective there is to influence the market. That's it.
That's what he's doing?
Yeah, same as that ICANN guy. When you're that big and you hold that much stock, your behavior affects so many things. He might be hedging.
Well, we don't know how much stock he had.
No,
we know he sold his stock.
We know if he's a billionaire, he probably could afford to influence the market.
This is interesting. I don't know, man. Who knows? But
nobody knows. But I find the stock market to be a bizarre place because you're talking about the evaluation of a company and it's impacted by
confidence.
That's a fucking scheme.
It's a ridiculous scheme.
So
it's one of the weirdest methods of controlling an economy ever. It's
bizarre.
The idea that it's actually what we rely on.
Yep.
That confidence games, that like those things, those movies of Wall Street where people are on the floor and they're like, isn't that we're going there? Sell, buy.
Right.
Like that's the underlying system that keeps
the foundation.
Food on your table, and your mortgage paid, the roof over your head.
Goofy antics.
Shit's so crazy. And that's some archaic shit that maybe worked out with something like Bitcoin. That like when digital currency starts taking over, we have a sort of a different idea of monetized value because of digital currency. That could be something that eventually gets reworked as well.
For sure. I mean, you have to worry about the financial companies getting a hold of it and making it their own.
Well, do you think that in that sense that's one of the reasons why transparency is a good idea? Because people who do have ulterior motives and obvious bad intentions, financial intentions, and bad social consequences.
Transparency to what degree?
Well, that's a good question.
Because you were mentioning earlier that you're transparent. I'm saying I'm transparent, but again, I don't necessarily share everything about. I don't know. There's a level of transparency that makes sense, and then at some point it gets weird.
Right.
Like if a finance guy had to. If we were able to grasp the amount of money these fucking guys are making by trading one inanimate thing for another inanimate thing, I don't think society would be very happy about it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like it's essentially a gambling ring. Like so many of these hedge funds now, it's not even about investing in a company you believe in. It's in making a play.
Well, that's one of the reasons why the Bernie Madoff situation was so confusing. Because I was like, oh my God, like this guy, he was involved in people that were incredibly rich.
Yep.
And he was moving their money, and he was doing it in full view of the world. It wasn't like he had a huge business. I mean, a building,
a whole floor in Manhattan.
Yeah, I mean, you watch them move money around, and all these billionaires and millionaires were investing with him, and he did it in front of everybody.
That's right. That exposes the entire system. What about the crash?
Yeah.
What about the bailout?
Yeah. What about the bailout? Yeah.
I mean, that was in front of all of us.
It's all so crazy. It's all so crazy. And I think that like the news, like the evening news, like a lot of things, we're dealing with dinosaurs. We're dealing with like these forgotten relics or not forgotten, but current relics of an age where they're not relevant anymore. It's just the ideas behind them that make them aren't relevant.
Nope.
And they've also been compromised to a point where they're so unstable when it comes to things like the stock market. When you look at derivatives, and Peter Schiff tried to explain derivatives to me, and you know the how people bet on things failing and how much money there is in that aspect of the economy. And it's so bewildering that anybody ever let that happen.
And it's not about what makes sense. It's about what you can convince people. That's the problem. It's much like a betting line on a fight, a UFC fight. It's not. It's the Vegas. It's not necessarily about. I was listening to one of your fight broadcasts there where you were saying you had a great record picking winners.
Yeah.
But you will never say it or something like that.
Well, I never give predictions.
You don't want to give predictions, but that I would imagine, being who you are, that you could fairly accurately predict winners, right? Over and over again.
Pretty accurate, but not 100%. There's certain fight, like, here's a perfect example.
Name one that you got surprised.
Oh, I get surprised all the time.
Okay, so
Chris Weidman, Anderson Silva surprised me.
Yeah.
I thought Weidman was going to give him some troubles, but I never thought he would win by knockout in the first round or the second round like that.
No, that fight surprised everybody. Yeah. There was no way. But I guess you don't necessarily need to be perfect in order to make a lot of money.
TJ Dillashaw, Henan Barao. There's another one. Henan Barao, one of the best fighters on the planet. TJ Dillashaw dominates him for 5 rounds.
Yeah.
And then head kicks him.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. So yeah, it's not a science. But that being said, I think you could knock it out of the park a good enough percentage of the time to make a killing.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. If I wanted to bet money on fights every week.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I could make some cash.
So the line that they draw is based on what they can sell. So it's relative to the betting that's already occurring. That's why the line moves, right? Mm-hmm. It's no different in the stock market. If you can convince people that a stock is valuable, guess what? It's valuable.
Do you think it's unethical if I bet on fights? I can't affect the outcome. If I bet on fights myself, if I decided to do commentary on the fight, I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think so.
This is breaking news right now. Joe Rogan.
I mean, I'm not a player.
No,
if I was a player or a coach, then I would think that betting on fights could be very problematic.
You have contact with the fighters.
Is that insider trading?
What is that? I don't know. I would do it. You should have your own show on YouTube. Like, who was that guy that got ousted? He used to be the betting machine in football.
Jimmy the Greek?
Jimmy the Greek.
Yeah, but that was because he was racist. But he wasn't even racist. He was just kind of being accurate about how they used to breed slaves. The way he said it.
Right, exactly.
Was just so fucking brutal.
But he had a segment on national TV about betting.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Like, people care.
Yes.
You know how many people would watch a show of you giving your picks on an upcoming event?
It's too mean. It's too rude.
How's it rude?
It's rude. I've been rude before. Pull up Kimbo Slice versus Seth Petrozelli. We were in the... Here's a perfect example of it. We were backstage in Atlanta. I was working at the Punchline in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And while we were there, it was when Elite XC was on TV. And Ken Shamrock was supposed to fight Kimbo Slice. But Ken Shamrock got cut backstage like while he was warming up, and the doctors wouldn't let him fight. So because it was going to be on TV, Seth Petrozelli, who was on earlier on in the card, already been approved by Athletic Commission, already made weight, decided to fight Kimbo in the main event.
And he had already fought that night?
No. He was approved to fight that night. It all happened that day.
I see. So
they rearranged the card the day of the fight. They paid the other guy money, they got Kimbo to fight Seth Petrozelli.
Got it.
And so we're backstage, and I found out about it literally as it was going on. I was like, oh my God, Seth Petrozelli is going to fuck him up. And then the fight happens, and it literally lasts 6 seconds. And Seth Petrozelli knocks him out. And I was like, see? I told you. Here it is. Like, if we could play it.
Against Seth Petrozelli.
But is this the fight, or is this me watching the fight? This is not me watching the fight. Pull up the video of me predicting it. Because I predicted, and we were watching it backstage as it was happening on the screen. But it was very mean, because I was like, Seth Petrozelli is going to fuck him up. But I like Kimbo. He's a nice guy. So I felt bad after I said it, even though I was correct.
There's a weird thing about fighting that when it's over, you're on the ground and bloody.
Here it is.
Seth Petrozelli is fighting Kimbo Slice.
Oh, no.
This is a last-minute replacement. I got to think Seth Petrozelli is going to fuck him up. If I'm wrong, you'll never see this. So it doesn't matter.
So we're sitting here backstage.
What's wrong with that?
He goes, well, what's wrong with it?
By the way, I just think Seth Petrozelli.
Here we go. This is why they do this. Oh, Seth Petrozelli.
Watch how fast this is, though.
Yeah, I saw this.
Oh my God, you're fucking right.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what I say? Seth Petrozelli is a bad motherfucker.
So I felt bad about that. I mean, I probably shouldn't. Damn, how high do I look in that picture, by the way?
That too.
That beard, bro.
I look. That's your sexy beard, but I look very intoxicated.
Well, you were motivated at the time. I think if with a little more composure.
Well, not only was I motivated, it was in the moment.
Yeah, I know, and you're excited about it.
I got off stage, and they hadn't fought yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit. So I literally had just gotten off stage.
Right.
And boom, you were in the dressing room, and oh, they haven't fought yet. And what? Seth Petrozelli's going to fight him? And then we made the video.
Yeah. See, if with a little, with more preparation, you could phrase it in a way that isn't insulting, I think.
Well, my partner at Onnit, Aubrey, is an active bettor under my advice.
I heard him betting on one of the fight broadcasts. Yeah.
Very strong average, into the 80%. At one point in time, we were at 90%.
Wow.
We've gone full cards where we were 100% correct.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, he fucking
dude
gets paid, son.
Let me tell you, if you're 90%, you need to be spending some money.
No, because I would get addicted. The problem is, this is one of the reasons why I don't gamble on it. It's not that I worried it would affect my commentary, because I absolutely would not let it. See, I've been accused of being biased before, but if I am biased, it's because I enjoy certain styles. It's certainly not biased because I want one person to win.
Right.
I just think I like when people fight effectively and intelligently.
Right.
I like that. I like when people are exciting. I like when I have very specific things that I like about the sport of fighting, and one of them is I enjoy technique and someone who's a real technician, a craftsman, someone who really immerses himself. It doesn't mean they're going to win. Like sometimes a fighter is just stronger or faster, or just clubs someone. I mean, there's fighters. Fights have been lost where the other guy was clearly the better fighter, but he still lost. A perfect example is Ernesto Hoost fought Bob Sapp. It's a weird example because it was in K1.
Bob Sapp's the huge guy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And Ernesto Hoost is one of the greatest kickboxers of all time. But Bob Sapp has beat him twice. And it doesn't make any sense. It was only because Bob Sapp was 375 pounds of fucking solid steroids and just running at him and just Donkey Konging. I mean, if you watch the fight, you see Ernesto Hoost, who's this masterful technician, but he just can't deal. Pull up some of the video of it, because it's 3 minutes. We got 3 minutes? All right. Probably shouldn't pull the video up then.
3 minutes left?
Yeah, we did 3 hours, man.
3 hours.
It's over.
That's it?
Yep. Look, it's 3 hours and 10 minutes. See?
Dear God. Now I know why everyone says that at the end.
Flies!
What the hell, man?
Flies.
Did we even talk about technology?
We did.
We did, okay.
We talked a lot about technology.
All right, good.
We could definitely do this again, though. When are you going to be in town again?
I don't know right now.
Come on, son. Come up with a schedule.
I should know. I could make a reason, probably.
Listen,
I've been here a lot.
A lot of fun talking to you, though, man.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed
Thanks
this.
for having me.
We'll definitely do this again.
For sure.
Follow him online, Unbox Therapy, youtube.com/Unbox Therapy.
You got it.
Channel.
Yep.
Really cool stuff. Really cool to have you on here. And again, we could just go on for days and days and days. So we'll definitely have to do this again.
Cool.
For sure. Thanks to our sponsor. Thanks to Stamps.com. Go to Stamps.com, use the code word JRE, and get the $110 bonus offer, which includes a digital scale and up to $55 of free postage. Stamps.com, use the code word JRE. Thanks also to Onnit.com. Go to ONNIT, use the code word Rogan, and save 10% off any and all supplements. There are very few tickets left for tonight at the Ice House. We are in the little room, and Joey Diaz and Dom Herrera are in the big room. It's going to be a motherfucking Pasadena party, bitches. Tonight we got Sarah Tiana, Brian Redband, Tony Hinchcliffe, Greg motherfucking Fitzsimmons, and me as well. Good times, and it's one of the coolest clubs on the planet Earth. One of the oldest clubs in North America today. Started in 1960. It's a fucking awesome place. A lot of good vibes. All right, much love, my friends. We'll be back next week. Crash from the Float Lab will be here. Lots of other stuff coming up. I'll talk to you soon. Give me a big kiss. See you soon. Bye-bye.